Good morning, all. Hicktown girl, I don't know that answer. I've not asked. She was asking if folks in tier 3 could see money in the counts. I've not asked that question, at least not recently. In the past, we had many that reported there, waiting for the release of, but I've not asked that recently. Hello, Mr. Lee. Hello, Stellar. Hello, Joy and Blake. Hello, Rick. Jemanuel. It's going to be an action-packed day today. Uncle Matt's going to stop by very quickly. Then I'm going to do the news, then Andy, then Zester. Ought to make a fantastic Wednesday morning. Do I think we're going to see this before Mother's Day, Mr. Austin? I don't know that answer. Do I think it's possible? Yes, very. A lot of developments going on in Iraq. They are quickly trying to get organized, if that makes a difference in the timing. If you're over 45 and you've noticed your ankles are swelling at the end of the day, puffiness in your face when you look in the mirror, just that heavy, sluggish feeling, no matter how well you eat, listen up. It's not your age. It's not your fault. Doctors call it lymphatic congestion. Here's what most people don't know. Unlike your blood, your lymphatic system has no pump, no heart pushing it along. It only moves when you move, through muscle contraction and deep breathing. So between sitting all day, dehydration, processed foods, and natural slowdown that kicks in after 45, it's no wonder things back up. When they do, you get swelling, puffiness, brain fog, stubborn weight that just won't come off. So I started digging in, found a formula that works, LymphMD from Nation Health MD. Lisa King, a licensed pharmacist, formulated it with 9 natural botanicals: dandelion root, burdock, turmeric, bromelain. These are same ingredients herbalists have trusted for generations to get things moving again. About 2 weeks in, things aren't as tight. Watch is not as tight. Ring's not as tight. Legs stop feeling as heavy. Clean, steady energy. Hadn't felt in years. No jitters, no crash. LymphMD is only available at Nation Health MD, and every bottle comes with a 365-day money-back guarantee, a full year, risk-free year to try it. My viewers, you folks in a community can get 35% off with a code MarkGift, MarkGift, for a short time. Links below. Your body will thank you. Lymph system, it is. I need to do more research. I've got to take up some of the exercises. Oh, let's ask, what do you do for your lymph system?
For me?
You still exercise, you still move. As we become more steady in it, stab, whatever. Or don't move as much, Matt.
Yeah. Good morning, Mark. Yeah, what I do, you know what? I got some damaged lymphs there, the back of your legs or something, but and that's what you got to keep an eye on. I don't know. I'll have to give this stuff a try for sure.
Now, I was just sitting there thinking, heck, that might be a big one to figure out, because with a lot of them, it'd be like Matt's lymphatic drainage formula or something.
Okay, I'll get Lucas moving on that one. Mark, okay, and I know they're in back of your knees or somewhere in there, and if you have damaged knees in the past, or you did some rugged sports, you can damage them when they're older. I mean, when you're a kid, it's all great and everything's, roses, but when you get older, it can cause trouble, make your legs be chubby,
Yeah, chubby, swell, itching. Yeah. I mean, it's becoming a bigger and bigger thing. Today's world, whether it's there's so much crap out there.
Yeah, but I would say, give those a try that Mark was just talking about for sure. Yeah, so.
Until Matt works on his formulation.
Okay, we'll get on it. I swear we will. Okay, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Yep. But
Lucas in the lab, the mad scientist.
Yep. Yeah, Lucas is great that way. Boy,
he really is.
You get him thinking about something, he gets fired up. He just loves it. It's like a hobby for him.
Yeah, so. It really is.
but it's a job for them. Yeah. Well, anyways, you guys, I'm just going to tell you about all the specials and everything, and then we'll just relate it to Andy here first after that. But I'm with the CBDgurus.com, you guys. THECBDGURUS.com. And to get into our site, that's what you put in there. And then when you get in there, hit wholesale, and Mark's name is right on top there. And then if you need a code word to get in after you hit that, you put in lowercase KRAMCBD right there in that little box if you have to. If it's already going, you're fine. Okay. And then you're in the specials, you guys. And I'll just tell you about the specials here. If we've got 25% off everything with code APR25, you put that in at the end. And then also with the order 25 or more, you get a copper coin. And I know Andy's coming out with the.
Yeah, I still think the copper coin is such a great deal. One, at this pace with inflation, everything else, copper's like the next silver. I mean, it's like but the biggest thing, it's training. You get to see it, you get to hold it, you know what it's worth. The silver one's way, basically the same thing. To me, it's just really, really cool. I don't know. I remember somebody giving me my first stamp to collect stamps. I would I don't know where I'm at, but I may have to get some DVD just so I can start saving them for like grandkids someday or something to get them like hooked, collecting medals.
Yeah, and I agree with you because when I was a kid, my dad he would always have coin collections and stuff, and I was always intrigued by the penny deal. But this is like a big penny; it's a big copper, but it's actually the same size as a silver, like Andy sells. And I mean, I was telling Mark we were talking about something earlier, and I said, I bought some silver through Andy at about 25. These American Eagles way back. And I ended up selling some right at about 100. And
wow.
I mean, do I still buy a little bit now? Yeah, for sure. And it's a kind of just gets in your blood, you buy and sell and hopefully sell when it gets way up there. And it did. And Andy helped me out. And then not only that,
most of you guys don't know. I wouldn't even know Andy if it weren't for Matt. He's the one that introduced us.
And then and then the other thing too, living in Minnesota, you get hit with the tax, the state sales tax on the coins. But no, Andy had me just drive up to North Dakota, which was fine. Drove up there, took 3 hours, or drove back, but it saved me a ton of money. I didn't have to pay the tax on it then, so that was cool.
That is cool.
So that was really cool what he did there. So that's great. But
anyways, sorry to distract you there, Matt.
No, that's all right. We'll get back to the products here. But anyways, you guys. So every order over 150 or more, not including shipping or discounts, you also get some Bolivar, the 10 million Bolivar of our great country down there in South America with all the oil. Okay. And then we've got, new people, if you have any questions, give this a call, 612-412-8343. Wendy's standing by to answer your questions. She'll really help you out. And I've already talked to her and she's wide awake. She's ready. Okay. And so anyways, we've got a lot of specials in there, from gummies to the oils, to the coffees, to the what else do we have in there? All kinds of stuff. Oh, the pet oil. Yeah. I somebody asked me the other day, is that $19 1,500 pet oil on sale? I said, yep, 25% off that too, for sure. And then, one product in there, you'll see it. You go down the specials, it's number 5. You can get 250 count gummies. It's $175, but you get 25% off. So you get 500 gummies, and those have the milligrams of 1 milligram THC, 10 milligram CBD in each one. And so, that's something. If you have any pain or anything just throughout the day, just get on those, and those will really help you. And let's see, I don't know, all kinds of specials in there. Just take a look at them, and that's about it. So you go to thecbdgurus.com, and you put in MarkZ wholesale, and the code is lowercase KRAMCBD, and that's pretty much all of it. But every order over 25 gets the copper coin, but that gives you training to buy the silver coin. It's the same
Exactly.
size from Andy. There you go.
Right. Although I'm telling you, copper keeps going crazy. It may actually start making sense to stack it. I mean, I've always stacked it because I just like, if I run across some wire or whatever, like take a corner of the shot until copper went up, and then I'd sell it.
Well,
that's changing.
That copper there, that was about the same price as silver when I was just a little kid, sitting there with my dad with his coin collection. So, copper, what is it? I suppose about 50 cents for an ounce. I mean, that's the raw price. The coins cost a hell of a lot more because they got to put labor into them. But so that's about what silver was, I think, in 1960. Probably about, I think it was under $1 an ounce. Maybe it was 50 cents, 75.
Well, I mean, at some point, I mean, think about it. They made the silver dollar. The silver dollar was 3/4 of an ounce, and it was $1.
Yeah, even when I was a little kid, I know it was. Yeah, that was a good time to touch coins when you were little, when they were worth something, I guess.
But, you're right. When a pocket full of change meant something, actually now, if the same pocket full of change from 1950, it is worth a lot.
That's right. Yeah. And well, anyways, that's all the specials, Mark. And so get in there, you guys, and give her a shot and just help out your health. Those, like I said, if you have any questions, you go, oh my God, I got this wrong with me. Just give the number a call, and Wendy will help you out. Okay.
Yeah, if it makes it better, guys, the website, the password, the phone number, all of it is on the top of your screen.
Yep, for sure. All right, Mark.
Oh God, Susan just made a good point, Matt. You got to start watching the copper pipes in your home again, your AC units.
Oh yeah. Wait. When you.
You know where all the crackheads go in and rip out the plumbing underneath the house or a building or a business. I had that happen to one of my businesses one time when copper went way up. I want to say it was like 2008, 10, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And they tore out the copper.
Oh man, yeah, isn't that nice? Wreck everything.
Yeah,
just to get that amount of money to wreck everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
But no, that's not good.
Cost me thousands, so they could make $50.
Yeah, nice, beautiful. Well, anyways, yeah, we didn't. I don't think they did that to make these coins. So I don't think. No, I know they didn't. So it's funny. Oh well, Mark. Let's see. I think it's time for all the information you give and all that.
Yeah, right? I guess it probably is time for the news. I should probably get at it.
Yeah. Okay, you guys have a great day, and get on there and buy something and get your health right. Take care.
Yeah, no, Matt. Thanks for the stop by, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you bet. Take care, Mark.
See ya. They are such a huge part of the program. They make a lot of this possible. Can't thank them enough. Now it's time to bounce over to the news. We're going to start with a couple, we're going to set the stage. Well, I should probably start with, guys, I still don't have a bond update. I only had one that I was hoping for an update before this morning because they were supposed to have, hopefully had a late meeting yesterday. I'm still waiting for that update. My other ones are late in the day today, which means, hey, evening news by tonight at 7. I'd say there's an excellent chance we could get a decent update finally. Let's get over to the news. Make certain I hit the news time banner. Ali al-Zaidi, who's in charge of forming the new Iraqi government, received green light from Iran and the United States. I think this one is a really important one, guys. As we're looking at this, what's it going to mean? We're starting to dive into his background, looking for any positives, any red flags, etc. The biggest red flag at this point, other than all the people that approved of him on one side. And then, of course, it's a good thing when people on the side you like agree to him. But you have to remember that he did get a nod from all of the parties. I think there's a reason he got a nod from all the parties. I think they're going to make a mistake with this guy. That's good for us. The mistake being they think he's young. So you look at a society that is very much ruled by seniority and a culture. He's a bit of a wildcat here because he has a lot of experience running big businesses and everything else. I don't think they're going to find him the easily maneuverable puppet they thought he was. He's going to be his own person, which I think is a great thing for the Iraqi people. We'll see. Time will tell us if I'm right or just crazed hopeful. The biggest negative, he sat on the chair of a bank that, according to some ties, is partially owned. His family has some interest in and has for generations. So that part's not a new part. So a lot of concern. Oh, wait a minute. That one got shut down. U.S. sanctions, or they had U.S. sanctions. Still operating. He was sitting on the board. That didn't mean he was the teller in there taking the money, handing out cash, or did anything wrong at all. But it does. That appears to be the only real possible smudge or stain on his resume. The rest of it is pretty impressive, other than he's never worked in government before. He's worked in the private industry. Me, that means he's an outsider. I think it's a great thing. But it is important to remember that he got the blessings of all the parties. Economist explains why the UAE withdrew from OPEC and the OPEC Plus alliance. Of course, yesterday, boy, tell you things really heated up quickly. And now you have other countries considering leaving. UAE is just saying, look, we got 2 million barrels a day in excess capacity that we can't use because of these OPEC restrictions. So we'd rather sell them. At some point, oil isn't going to be the end all. It's still going to be needed, lubricants, whatever. UAE is watching this transition. In the next couple years, next handful of years, probably in the next 3 to 5, we'll have reached max oil consumption as new technologies start reducing them out. Populations are starting to come down, not up. We're hitting that plateau where it's a curve down, meaning we're not going to need all the capacity out there. You're not going to be able to sell it all. UAE sees the end of that, is like, we need uncorked, especially because they can up their production even more. They want to be selling 5 million barrels like a day. As soon as the Hormuz reopens, there's going to be a lot of demand. They want to fill it. Pros and cons means you're probably going to get down to $50 oil before the end of the year. You may see it still go up another $10, $20 a barrel. It's already like 115, 116 a barrel right now before it peaks and goes over, but they can see the end of this. Venezuela opportunity looks like they're going to step in and fill some of those shoes in OPEC. I don't think it's smart of them. I think they should. And I love that one. A number of analysts, including Middle East analysts, are saying, oil's heyday is going to decline, start declining. It's not going away. It's going to be here for a long time. But the peak of it is only a handful of years away. So as they start building all this excess capacity or whatever, they need to flood the market. They need to sell as much as they can, while they can. The good news for us is it's going to make things boom on the tail end of it. Kind of like World War II. Cheap oil fueled a massive growth in the world economy and the world infrastructure. You're watching some very structural things occur. And it appears that UAE is smart enough to recognize that. Parliamentary finance, preparing the budget requires a full empowered government and actual resources, not space figures, not makeup figures. Brick and mortar, things you can touch. I just love this. Jamel Khojar, member of the Finance Committee in the Iraqi Parliament, confirmed on Tuesday that the deficit is hindering the resolution of the budget, while pointing out that the budgets are based on resources and not satellite figures. What does he mean by satellite figures, guys? All he's saying is it needs to be based on reality. We can't set a budget when we don't know what's coming in. We can say what we need to spend. We can cut it to the crisp, but you can't do a real budget if you don't have the knowledge. You can't say, hey, salaries this, revenues are this. This is very close to what's expected. So the move right now in Iraq is to do think of it as a stopgap budget for 2026 and then do a full budget for 2027. The common sense going on right now in the U.S., we would never take this grounded approach. We would never say, this is how much we have coming in. This is how much we got going out. We've got to balance these two. We can't approve more expenditures until we know what we have coming in. It is like a level of responsibility, fiscal responsibility, that we have not seen in the United States, well, in an exceptionally long time. We haven't needed it. We can just borrow against our Federal Reserve, right? We can just do a make-believe IOU. Coordination. Oh, I don't know why it wanted to do that, but let's see. Can we make it go away? They made it go away. Coordination framework meets tonight with Al Zayedi to draw the map of the new government. Things are moving forward quickly. There's been a big conversation today is finishing out those committees or filling those committees. Big meetings going on as they work to quickly and rapidly seat a full government. They really are getting off stuck in Iraq. It's fun to watch. The feel goods, the rhetorics, the meetings, the importance of seating it. This is dominating the Iraqi conversation right now. Economic fury. We're going to go to Iran because it is part of our news time. Economic fury targets Iran shadow banking facilitators. Big crackdown. I mean, they nailed this laundering for Iran. What comes through Iraq, what comes from other places around the world. Individuals, addresses. I mean, if you are operating and you are helping them fund money from a basement below a bagel place in Tehran or in Brussels, I mean, they track the level of accounting forensics that went into this move on economic fury. It's impressive. I mean, can you imagine the people that are afraid right now after how detailed they got, who they went after? That means if you were one of those guys facilitating it, let's say you were the old cabal, you were the Western banking system, you were helping funnel and wash and launder billions of dollars through that regime. They just knocked on your door. They just said, oh, hey, here's the proof. This is huge. I think this is important for our hopes and dreams of a Nasera because it is. It's cleaning the system. This is impressive to watch. Impressive to watch. And if you want a world-class read, not a very long read, but a world-class read, Amani Burkane does this piece that I thought was just phenomenal. The hidden economy of crisis. Read a paragraph or two so you guys can get the idea in hopes that a number of you all will read this. Economic crises do not start where we see them, but from where we do not pay attention. Just as calm waves don't worry those standing on the beach, markets don't show fragility in moments of apparent calm. The truth is that what determines the fate of financial systems is not the noise of trading, but the movement of water below the surface, the silent accumulations of small individual forces or individual decisions, which over time turn into a tectonic pressure capable of causing an economic earthquake. She does a masterful job. She has to have some other language skills other than just native tongues because her writing really good. I'm impressed. I'd like to meet this lady that wrote this piece. But she talks about all the bad decisions, all the years. When something goes bad, we're like, it's all of a sudden. But it wasn't. It was slowly over years, festering, bubbling. Wait until the moment it broke. Whereas Andy says, slowly, then bam. We're watching the bam moment. This has been going on. That's what I keep saying to people. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going to, get rich quick off of something like this. It just doesn't happen that way. It isn't just instant overnight. You're right. It's been slowly boiling, being worked on decision after decision after decision. Thought this one was just great. It's a really good one to put you guys in the right frame of mind for this. Just fantastic. Faisal Islam, why the UAE's exit from OPEC is a big deal. Very big deal. This one's coming to you from the BBC, the British Broadcasting. Very big deal that United Arab Emirates has announced its abrupt exit from OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. The Emirates were members even before they became a nation state in 1971. Much of what I was talking to you guys about who's selling what, some of the restrictions, why the UAE made the decision when they made the decision. what it might mean. It also talks about what I had mentioned earlier. They have excess capacity. They're going to throttle sales if they stay in OPEC for years. They may never get to realize the economic gain. In other words, while oil is higher, they want to sell it and then they want to invest it in other infrastructure so that they're prepared. They don't want to be at the end of the day and be like Blockbuster, thousands of stores across the country, rents on everything, the technology changed. That day is coming. We call it the oil age. The oil age is going to stay around a long time. And one example I read I thought was just fantastic. Did the Stone Age end because they ran out of stones? Or the oil age end because we ran out of oil? The answer is no. Other technologies of the planet changes. We're already getting more efficient, population shrinking, nuclear energy, free energy of some sort. All the things we talk about, patents, technology changes, engines that run on water. Petroleum's still going to have a role, but what's that role going to be? UAE is just simply thinking forward, going, it's time to stop handicapping ourselves and think about us, which is going to be great for you guys. A forward-thinking person that wants a little bit of a gamble, in my mind and opinion, not giving you advice, but I'm thinking, when everybody starts getting rid of, because electric car sales have shot through the roof all of a sudden as gas has gone up. I mean, it's the most expensive it has been since 2022. Oh, wait a minute. Democrats out there screaming about, oh my God, this is the highest gas prices they've ever seen. They don't remember during Joe Biden when they were higher, I guess. Just selective memory. Side note, though. But think of all those beautiful SUVs, Mustang GTs, or all the cars that are gas guzzlers that are hitting the market right now at discounts because everybody's scrambling for something with better mileage. And then by this fall or late fall, they're expecting, probably $50 a gallon oil with some of the cheapest gas prices we've seen in decades. Man, think if I could afford to sit on vehicles, I'd be buying up those gas guzzlers. Bink, here's a person. I can't you can't get garage. I thought you said you couldn't get to work. Okay, I totally jumped on the wrong one. Reading a few. Okay, I'm going to turn this off as I finish this, and I want to be prepared for Andy as soon as he does join us today, because we'll have Andy and then we'll have Zester. So I want to kind of try to stay ahead of the curve. There's a lot I can talk about on top of it, but I want to breeze through the news as efficiently as I can before then. Trump tells aides, U.S. is preparing for an extended blockade, but could be open to interim deal with Iran. This according to Wall Street Journal. Trump prepares for an extended blockade. Wall Street Journal reports he has informed aides of risky planning. Trump, TS claim, True Social claim, Tehran has informed Washington they're in a state of collapse and that the Iranians want the U.S. to open Hormuz Strait as tank tops loom. We talked about that yesterday, but now let's get to that story about supposedly Wall Street Journal has inside information leaks that Trump is saying, nope, this blockade is going to last until they collapse. And they're supposedly informed aides. One, we don't know who they are. Two, has it not occurred to the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, that Trump hadn't figured out exactly how to leak what he wants leaked yet? All he's got to do is tell his trusted people, and it's going to get leaked. Or like in antiquity, if you've ever watched any of the old shows, medieval times and Spy Masters, Game of Thrones, any of these, you got spy within a spy. You know who the spies are. You know who's on the bankroll. And you leave them there so that you can feed them bad information. Trump's finally playing the game, it appears. Because when he wants something leaked that improves his negotiating position, he just tells a liberal aide who goes and tells the Wall Street Journal, goes tell the Washington Post, and bam, it is done. Think of just the stuff you can plant. How many false trails that they have run down. He could be like in front of aide going, and Cash Patel or somebody could come in, hand him an envelope, hand him a folder. He could look at it while he's in the company of another aide and go, oh my God, I can't believe Chuck Schumer did that with a dog. And the aide will be like, whoa, what happened? He's like, no, I don't need to get into this depravity or something like that. In other words, he could plant all kinds of crazy. I'm not saying anything like that happened. I use an example of how he can plant stuff. He's gotten a whole lot more savvy, or should I say the people around him have gotten a whole lot more savvy. Marley, I appreciate that one. I do appreciate that one. We should have these talks more often because they inject poor dog, Frank, right? I'm with you, Frank. Poor dog. No telling what Chuck gave that poor dog. Y'all are wrong. Your sense of humor is sick and twisted as mine is. We're healthy. Wait, Mitchell's birthday. Ham. Happy birthday, Mitch. See, Matt was just saying I've been buying higher test gas since it went up, but the higher test more expensive is getting 25% mileage. Yeah, I do the same math in my head, Matt. You hit a point where it no longer makes sense. You're better buying the cheap gas. But there, for a while, it makes more sense. And I think we're still in that spot right now, depending on your vehicle, where it makes more sense to spend the extra because you spend less in the long run. Does make for interesting. Oh, we got Andy early, which is just fantastic because I got a couple of fun ones. We'll wait for him to get settled in the studio. Brent nears Iran war highs after Trump orders extended blockades, threats no more nice guy. This is what I was talking about. I just added this other article so you could see how the press is being used to put out what they want to put out. The biggest fear in Iran now is that it goes longer because they are going to run into structural problems. Too much oil. They can't turn the pump off. And some of the things I want us to remember, U.S. farmers are facing two historic catastrophes in the same time, 2026. Extended drought. It was already going to be a depressed year. Now, reporting is 70%, around 70% of U.S. farmers won't be able to afford all the fertilizer that they need this year. We're well into planting season in some areas, beginning in others. They don't have the fertilizer. They were already reducing crops before because of weather. Now you're going to add all of these things together. There are structural issues in the economy. Whereas the one article, and I got Andy back there, so I'm going to bounce to him as soon as I think he's ready. I think he's ready.
What's going on, bro?
Just going through the news of the day, trying to make certain folks are thinking, and I got to make it a point to send this one article to you that lady wrote in the Middle East and Iraq, Amani Burkane. She's talking about how nothing is slowly under the economies don't suddenly break. It has been a bad decision after a bad decision after a bad decision. Just calm markets didn't force any stress, so they didn't break. Her point just being that there are some massive structural problems that have been building for decades, and we're hitting the suddenly part, the slowly, suddenly part.
Little by little, then all at once, right?
Little by little, then all at once. And I look at it from Ricker, you name it. You started talking about it. We've been talking about it for years now, but you have more and more gurus in the world financial system. They're saying, we're hitting the suddenly point.
We are.
We've been screaming. Nobody's been listening. And unfortunately,
you want to know the suddenly part and which is an interesting one because I've been doing this for a long time, Mark. I remember the first Gulf War under Bush Sr. And the chain of events that happens anytime you have a war that involves oil in the Middle East is the dollar gets a big bump as everyone is rushing to get dollars as oil spikes. Costs more money to buy oil and you have to be in dollars. So people sell their assets globally, depressing assets, and rush to buy dollars, which gives the dollar a big boost. I've always thought that throwing gold out the window at the same time was what my dear departed friend Jim Sinclair used to call MOPE, management of perception economics, managing the perception of things. But let's just say it's not. Let's say it is throwing out the baby with the bathwater, trying to get liquid and be able to get dollars, whatever it may be. Okay, so gold falls, equities fall, everything falls except oil goes higher, the dollar goes higher, everyone's currency is falling because they have to buy dollars, which depresses their currency, and the price of dollars keeps going higher and higher and higher as a result. So does oil. But the one thing that we always see is interest rates fall because there's a rush to treasuries. There isn't a rush to treasuries this time. In fact, it's the opposite of that. And treasuries have gone, the yield has gone higher on the 10-year treasury as bond prices have fallen. And it's a lack of trust. It's fiscal irresponsibility. What are you going to say?
I may not be a smart man, but the borrowing from Forrest Gump here, UAE stepping out of OPEC.
Well, I'm going to comment on
OPEC
that.
controlled 85% of all the oil sales around the world. Those had to be done in dollars. Now with UAE, with these changes, we're talking maybe 50% of the world oil deals are done with the U.S. petrodollar anymore. That's a massive change.
Well, and if you look at the petrodollar deal, the other half of it is recycling the excess dollar reserves in treasuries. So I'll comment on the UAE thing in a second, but this all comes back to treasuries. And when you talk about this moment of chaos, the all at once, former Secretary Henry Paulson, has called on the U.S. Treasury to draft an emergency contingency plan for a potential collapse in demand for U.S. Treasuries. Isn't that interesting? He said it on Bloomberg on Thursday. He said that the plan needs to be targeted and short-term and ready before a crisis hits, because when it hits, it will be vicious. So we have to prepare for that eventuality. I mean, you got the former Treasury Secretary saying out loud what we've been saying forever, that no one trusts the U.S. anymore, and that means the Treasury market and or our currency. And when you talk about the UAE exiting, let's look at how this could be bad for the dollar. I think it is bad for the dollar. It's very bad for the dollar because the UAE is already inside of BRICS. They joined BRICS in 2023, right? And I think they're the second largest producer of oil on the planet. And so, it has 1 foot out of the OPEC orbit and 1 foot inside the BRICS orbit. The UAE is already settling oil in non-dollar currencies. And with Indian refineries, they're settling Russian crude purchases in Chinese yuan and the UAE dirham, I think it's called, dirham. I don't know. Anyways, but they are doing this through not only SIPs, the cross interbank payment system, but they're one of the 4 original architects of Enbridge. And so the Enbridge platform enables instant settlement between central banks in China and Hong Kong and Thailand and the UAE. The 5th one that joined after is Saudi Arabia. They allow trades to bypass SWIFT and dollar intermediaries entirely. And so now, free from the OPEC quotas, the UAE can sell all they want and price it in yuan outside of OPEC.
And I did mention before that UAE made the comment that oil demand is going to peak in the next couple of years for U.S. as it starts coming down, new technologies, shrinking populations. UAE is just saying, we want to make it while we can so we can invest for after.
It's interesting. I didn't hear that, but wouldn't surprise me. And I just think that this is, to your point, it's a slow erosion. It's not a sudden collapse. But the UAE leaving OPEC while staying in BRICS is, I don't know, it's the kind of structural shift that over time certainly weakens the petrodollar architecture. And, I think it's a significant story.
I think it's absolutely huge because you look at what's propping the U.S. dollar, and then we're seeing more and more experts. I mean, heck, if you really listen to Judy Shelton, she's telling us that Trump is probably going to default on a lot of the U.S. debt, revalue gold, repeg the dollar, and say, screw the fiat world. I mean, it's looking more and more. We got more and more experts out there, more and more gurus, prophets, whatever you say, going, they're jumping on the Andy bandwagon, I think, finally.
Well, I think a part of what we've been talking about, certainly the stuff I was talking about, was before its time. We were seeing things long before the public's talking about it. But now it's starting to happen and you can't ignore it. And,
with that petrodollar, that UAE change, and all of those things, now they're looking at excess capacity. You've got some experts out there going, we probably going to see gas in the low $50 range by the end of this year, probably sometime late October once Hormuz is reopened, because these countries want to make up for what they didn't get to sell. They want to invest. I mean, what does that do to the U.S. dollar if the only thing propping us up is that whole OPEC petrodollar thing, and suddenly it's worth half?
And to me, it's less the dollar. I think the dollar is not going away, because what the dollar represents is global liquidity, at least for now. It's the rails by which everything can transact. What troubles me more would be the lack of demand for the U.S. Treasury, what it does to interest rates. You know, you look at there's something called the Ferguson Law. Ferguson Law says that when a country spends more money in interest or debt servicing than it does on defense, it will cease being a superpower. We are at that point. And, you know, so you get to a point where our indebtedness is growing faster and faster and faster and faster. Who in their right mind would hold our U.S. treasuries? Bad enough to hold dollars, but dollars will be something you can use to spend, to buy assets. There will come a time when there is a global shift away from the dollar, but more concerning is what happens when there's a shift, as we're seeing right now, interest rates going up. In a war where interest rates always went down, there was always a rush to treasuries during these conflicts. So rates are going higher. When the Ferguson Law is applied here, you know, showing that we're on the pathway to not being a superpower anymore, as all of those assets that could be used to build infrastructure and protect the country are being used to service the debt. But you have a group inside the Congressional Budget Office also that came out and said just a 1% increase in the 10-year Treasury from 4.5 to 5.5, and we're moving in that direction, would add another $3.5 trillion in debt to debt service over the next decade to our indebtedness. So we're trapped. If rates go higher, we get exponentially more constrained.
And you're watching that move. To me, it's all
Right.
planned demolition at this point.
Well, it is, and it is demolishing right in front of us. So these are the reasons, certainly, to hold gold. I do have some interesting things to chat about regarding the digital surveillance state, and some interesting things regarding privacy. You know, we've talked a lot about the Genius Act, and the Genius Act is law. It goes into effect next January, right? I don't know how much you've talked about it on other shows. By the way, you do a show with a guy named Michael, what's his last name? On Fridays, maybe?
Cottrell.
Yeah, I've been told by many people that I need to meet this guy, that I need to be on the show with you, that when he does that, at some point, somehow, I hear that this guy's amazing. So
Yeah, you guys are cut from a very similar cloth.
Yeah, I've heard a bunch of people tell me that I need to listen to Michael Cottrell, and ask MarkZ if I can get on with the two of them and be a fly on the wall. So just
enjoy
it. Anyways, so we've heard a lot about it, the Genius Act, and it goes into effect next January, right? When I had Catherine Austin Fitz on my show, we talked a lot about the digital surveillance state. Her opinion is that a stable coin is a central bank digital currency and stable coin clothing, that the plumbing of the stablecoin market will run in and out of the U.S. Treasury, that the Clarity Act did not prohibit programmability on this stuff. And she says it's worse than a CBDC because people's guard will be down. And I said, well, what about the digital ID? You know, you mesh the digital ID, which is now a necessity for voter integrity, and you mesh that with digital money. Boy, that's, she says, yeah, that is the digital surveillance state. And she talks about, you know, I said, look, as it is, the CBDCs have KYC, KYT, and AML technology. AML is anti-money laundering. KYC is know your client. KYT is know your transaction. So they're going to know who you are, where you got your money, and what you're buying. Okay, all that's cool, whatever. People would say, well, I don't do anything wrong, so why do I care? then you realize the Clarity Act said, well, we're not going to prohibit programmability. So why am I saying all of this stuff? On April 24th, Tether, and by the way, Tether will be one of the primary issuers, USA Tether, whose CEO.
I mean, what? Tether by itself is one of the 6th or 7th wealthiest. I mean, it's wealthier than most G20 nations.
Yeah, and their CEO of USA Tether, which is already Genius Act compliant, is Bo Hines, was Trump's crypto czar. And there's the wink, wink, nod, nod there. So I found it interesting that, and they're one of the primary issuers of stablecoins for the Genius Act. There'll be others, but they're one of the biggest, probably the biggest. And on April 24th, Tether confirmed it blocked 2 wallets worth $344 million. U.S. officials linked both wallets to the Central Bank of Iran and local cryptocurrency firms. Authorities flagged the funds as tied to unlawful activity. Chain analysis told CNN the 2 wallets were irregularly active years ago and engaged in frequent large transfers of up to tens of millions of dollars, largely with other private wallets. The firm said those patterns are consistent with how we've observed other known IRGC wallets move funds on chain. The 2 wallets were blacklisted at the smart contract level, meaning the tokens cannot be moved. So yes, they were frozen, framing the ability for this to be done to everyday people. So let's stop for a moment. So here it is, Tether, this third-party group that we weren't worried about, now has the ability not only to know who you are, what you're spending, what you're buying, and then they can freeze you if they think you've done something. One other thing, and I'll take your comment. They work with 340 law agencies across 65 countries and have already frozen $4.4 billion in assets. To Catherine's point, a digital ID meshed with digital money where there is programmability features. They know who you are, what you're buying, and where your money came from. And if you do something that the authorities, because it goes in and out of the Treasury, backed by short-term treasuries, if you do something that pisses off the authorities, well, you too can be frozen. I have one other thing to add to it, but let me get your question first.
Just the, when you sit there and you look at it, you look at the technology, you look at what they're passing, you look at what they're doing. It makes you wonder if you're riding the Trojan horse. In other words, did I just go find this horse that I wanted, and is it the Trojan horse? Is this the one? And because it does, the technology has the ability to free us or screw us.
Right.
And
well, and
application is going to be everything.
Yeah, well, convenience be damned. I would tell you that there is a far greater chance of it being used the other way. Now, we're talking about a digital surveillance state. So we have digital money that is programmable, can be frozen. They know who you are, where you got the money, what you're buying. We're talking about a digital ID, that is connected to everything eventually. We're talking about cameras everywhere. There is no freedom anymore, right? You're monitored everywhere you go. Now, how about this for crazy, crazy, crazy? Buried inside the 2021 infrastructure bill is something almost no one is talking about. By 2027, every new car sold in America,
and we talk about that on here a lot,
it's required to include driver impairment technology. They'll look at your eyes. They'll measure your heart rate, your breath, if you're erratic, your car won't start. If you're overtired, your car won't start, or you'll be limited to 25 miles an hour.
At what point is it when I like a tweet from Andy about the value of money and the worthlessness of fiat, and I like it, and my car turns off?
Yeah, right. Well, that's just it. Or how about you've been up working your ass off on a business venture until 3:30 in the morning, pounding coffee all night long. You get up at 6:30. You've got 3 hours of sleep. You got a flight to make to go sign the biggest deal of your life, and your car won't start because you're compromised. You're tired. Your eyes. It says if your eyes are erratic or focused on one thing too much, it can not start your car. Or what if you're being chased by someone with a gun and you get in your car and you're all frazzled and it won't start? I mean, that's a false positive. And it's bound to happen.
But don't worry. After the criminal shoots you, then the police will be sent since they've been monitoring you.
Well, and it says your car is no longer just transportation; it becomes a monitoring system. Eyes tracked, behavior analyzed, blah blah blah. But that data can be stored. It can be shared. It can be accessed by insurers or regulators or whoever ends up inside that ecosystem. It's scary, scary, scary. I mean, you can see the 1984 George Orwellian shit happening right here in front of us. Your ID, your money, and now your automobile. I mean, your phone already listens to you. Everything watches and listens to you. It's just becoming actually very, I don't know, almost make believe. I feel like I should be wearing a tinfoil hat, but this is all law. It's all happening. That's the crazy thing.
That really is. And I know the whole new world of technology, it can be really exciting, can also be terrifying.
Yeah.
We're hitting
What,
a very interesting time in human development.
what kind of questions can we answer?
Wow, I don't even know where to start today, especially after our conversation. Everybody's gonna do I jump off the bridge or not?
Uh,
Assets, commodities, real things you can, or as Andy would say, if you drop it and on your toe, does it hurt?
right. Well, you know, you look at, you know, we've talked about the chief investment officer for Morgan Stanley, sell half your bonds, buy gold. We've talked about the Jeffrey Gundlach, the bond king, 25% is not overweight. Michael Hartnett, chief analyst at Bank of America, 25% of your assets should be in precious metals. And now you see BlackRock saying what you just said, that the 60-40 rule is dead. They're going to sell half their bonds and buy commodities, including gold and gold-related equities. So the world is moving that way, and they're quietly talking about it. I have a big account at Morgan Stanley with a good friend of mine who's top 40 more financial advisors Forbes list, manages over $4 billion. For Morgan Stanley, he wouldn't know a gold coin if it fell on his foot, and I give him crap about it all the time. I say, you do know that your chief investment officer said 20% of your bonds should be, or the 40% of bonds, you should sell half and put it into metals. I give them crap about it all the time. It's like they say it up here so they can claim, you know, deniability. We talked about it, but even their massive brokers, the guy that one of the biggest in the country, wouldn't talk about it to save his life. So,
And doesn't own it.
doesn't own it and doesn't talk about it. And their CIO is saying, do this. Well, it's just, it's a way for them to drop crumbs and you know, get out of it when all hell breaks loose.
Well, I
What does
mean,
that question say?
there's a huge difference between centralized and decentralized. I didn't realize I'd left that one up. There is that is huge. Who controls it?
Right.
Here's the thing to always take away: no matter how perfect the system is they're putting up, it's only going to be as good as the people running the system down the road. And one thing human history has taught us: we go through this cycle. Governments get too big, they clean up, they central banks start issuing fiat, it crashes, they become responsible again. As soon as people stop watching, they start stealing again. It's time over time over time. Let's say our new system is just great and it's really for us and we the people, and they're not abusive with it. How long is that going to last?
Not that long. And you say
that's my point.
You're right. And the central banks are the ones printing all the money, right? But at the same time, a new report came out and said that central banks now own 18% of all the gold in the world. So the people who are printing the money are the ones buying the asset they cannot print. They now hold more gold than U.S. treasuries in their foreign reserves for the first time. And that tells you everything, that, you know, the deepest pockets in the world are moving out of paper and into hard assets because they see what's coming.
And their memories are probably a little longer. A lot of these entities have been around through these crashes. They know what's coming. And
they have
largely engineer them.
They do have probably the brightest minds working with them. Doesn't mean they're working for good or for our benefit, but they know what's coming, to your point. And now you add into it, you know, the analytic capacity of high-tech AI that tells you what's coming and the probabilities. This is why you're seeing the things that you are, but no one talking about it, because the big money is positioning outside of being forthright about it. But little crumbs are being dropped, like the chief investment officer of Morgan Stanley, like Michael Hartnett, like Jeffrey Gundlach, like BlackRock, but just dropped enough so if, you know, most people wouldn't notice it, most people wouldn't see it. It's not going to be on Fox. You got to dig and find it. But they can say, what do you mean? We've been talking about it forever. We go back and look at our X posts. Oh, yeah, that's right. But I don't know. I would say that deliveries and the counterparty removal, like France bringing back all their gold, all this stuff is happening, and you put all of these things together and they have a much bigger impact than looking at each individual news article independently. They're all related to the same thing: lack of trust, lack of faith in the dollar and our
It's trending.
institutions and our trajectory. Yeah.
That's one of the positives of using web crawlers, cleaning, getting out of your algorithmic echo box, and then start putting all the pieces together. It's alarmingly clear where we're headed.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't even know where to go on that one. Well, I know exactly where to go. What's the off ramp? Where's the exit on this crazy ride? Where can we still exist in this world? Because in today's world, you got to have access to the regular banking system somehow, some way for part of your life. But how do we run like parallel to it? I mean, we put all of our IRA in gold. We got it stored at Brink, something like that. I mean, that's part of it, but I'm at a loss.
Well, I think you use assets for your wealth. You use dollars for transactions. You keep just as much money in a bank account as you need to be transactional and liquid. Assets feed you. Liabilities like the dollar eat you in terms of purchasing power. So I think you hold just enough dollars to be liquid enough to transact without being dollar poor. But holding your wealth in dollars is like holding a melting ice cube in the palm of your hand, and it will disappear. So instead, you hold it in the form of assets. Now, let's just pretend I didn't sell gold and silver for a living. What other assets can you hold that have liquidity when you need it outside the system? Real estate, no, not real liquid. Diamonds, well, now with lab-grown diamonds, that industry is dead and buried forever. And who the hell
figured
knows?
it out yet, but it is.
It is. I have some friends in the jewelry business. They're like, it's over. It's done. It is done. You can buy a 7-carat diamond ring in beautiful condition for $6,000-$7,000 versus $80,000 or $90,000 if it's a real diamond. Now they're the same thing. They are real. It's like a baby grown in a lab, a baby that is a human being versus one that came out of mother's, body. Are they different? I mean, and they're both the same kid, right? I mean, conceived differently, but it is. And I don't need to get deep like that. But the point of it is that the diamonds are real.
Look, at some point, the artificial perfect diamonds, they're going to have to start adding flaws or they're not going to have any value. People are going to look for the flawed diamond so that they know it's a real one.
Right. Well, and the real ones, even you have to, there's a way you can test it, but even a gemologist with a loop probably couldn't tell the difference. So where are you going to put your money with liquidity? Art, no. Cars, no. Real estate, no. Farmland, these are all great things, but they're not liquid or portable. So I don't know. I think there are very few places that you can keep your assets that will give you liquidity, portability, outside the matrix, privacy. But you definitely need to have some dollars, and to say you don't is silly. To your point, you need to be liquid. So yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, Mark. It is. These are challenging times.
Hey, we do have some good bridges now. You got Glint, where it's kind of a bridge between the two. It's a compromise. Any compromise isn't going to be perfect, but it's one of the best compromises I've seen out there. How to hold it an asset, but still have the liquidity of cash.
Right. Well, it is. It is a good. You're right. It is a good bridge. And I think the technology, in fact, I know I'm working with some things where it is moving in that direction, where they're trying to meld the qualities or the features of Bitcoin with the gold market. And that would be, interoperability with different exchanges.
Accountability ledger.
Yep. The ability to collateralize, to sell cross-border, to take delivery out of different locations. This is all being worked upon. The key to it is the delivery side. Can you get physical possession? Who's holding it? Who's auditing it? These are all important things, and the gold industry is addressing that. But yeah, you're right. There are a few choices any longer that allow you to be liquid and still be outside the system.
When do miners associations get together and issue their own collateralized metals backed based on either or, let's say all the silver miners or maybe even all the metal dealers, you guys get together and go, we need to have a digital gold-backed, silver-backed coin, and you all get together and say, I'm going to put in this much. It's your stake. It's converted to the value in, come up with the Andy coin. And you all get together as an organization, everybody throws in, 1,000 ounces and you create this coin, you sell it. It's 100% trackable. When does the free market just go ahead and replace?
Well, that's what the World Gold Council is trying to do. They just came out with a white paper, and the white paper said there are all of these gold programs like Glint, like Tether, like Paxos, and others. And I will be part of some. I hope. I'm working very closely to make that happen. And but they're not interoperable. So the World Gold Council wants to have a commonality on the back end that they would propose administering, that all of these things speak to one another so they are interoperable, so that you can deliver your gold token from one to another with great ease. You can post it for collateral, you can stake it, you can redeem it. So it's moving in that direction. And I don't know that the gold industry, it's not that everyone couldn't do it. Who's going to administer it, and who's going to store it, and who's going to audit it? So instead, their idea is everyone has their own form of digital whatever, that they all have a commonality on the back end. It's kind of like a light bulb. All the different manufacturers make their own different light bulbs, but they all have the same, threading. So they all plug into the same socket. Doesn't matter who's making it or what belt. This one you can change colors with your phone, and this one is, different brightness and whiteness, and this one just a normal light bulb, but they all plug into the same socket. That's kind of what the World Gold Council wants to do.
That same socket's important. It's kind of like the Discover card. Really cool, some great benefits, but not accepted everywhere. That may have changed, guys. I'm going, showing my age here. You don't know if it's going to be used. You've got to be able to use it. That on the backside of the systems or whatever. I got to know that when I walk in a place, I can use that currency.
Correct, or that I can trade it with you, and if I trade it and you have one form of a digital gold program and I have a different, that it doesn't matter. It'd be kind of like connecting Venmo and Zelle. It would be neat if you could do that. If you could Zelle, to Venmo and Venmo to Zelle, those kinds of
Good
things.
Example.
So that they are interoperable with one another. And that is what the World Gold Council is proposing to do with their white paper.
That could be huge.
It's coming. There's no question about it.
I don't think, unless you've really spent a lot of time around economics, I don't think most people understand how huge that is.
Yeah, no, it's what will keep gold relevant. What's making it less relevant with the younger communities are those things. Well, I can't take it with me, and I can't collateralize it, and I can't, well, now you can, and you can do so or soon with less friction, less cost, and greater, what's the word? Like homogeny, where it's the same everywhere.
Now we've got a one here, and this is going to be a standard question along with, why do you want to put gold and silver? If it gets really bad, you're not going to be able to eat your gold and silver. But Malia is saying, what good is gold or silver if they have the ability to crash that market and keep you poor? They're going to force you into digital if you want a shot at wealth. I would just, before I turn you over to it, they've been able to manipulate the market. They haven't been able to totally crash it. At some point, the market's not going to care what they do. It is going to be totally, it's just going to be, that's fictional, that's make-believe. Here's the real metal. That's my thought.
You want to crash any market. There are no free markets anymore. There's just manipulations. I mean, the stock market is controlled by the plunge protection team. There's another word for it, working group on capital or whatever. The exchange stabilization fund has the right to come in and stabilize markets any way they want. And so there are no free markets. But in a world where their gold and silver have become globalized, and in a world where the treasury, which was the preeminent form of safety, is no longer trusted, nor the institutions issuing it trusted, nor the fiscal response or irresponsibility admired by the world, these things change. And so, yes, by knocking it down in dollar terms, you only play into the hands of the Chinese. I'll give you an example on that. They knocked the hell out of it in January and February, and in February and March were the two biggest months on record for silver importation in all history into China. They imported more silver in February and March. February is the largest on record, then March was even bigger, as the price of silver and gold got their teeth kicked in. So the longer we play these games, the faster the shelves get drained globally. And China, who was an exporter of silver last year, is now the world's biggest importer. They are no longer going to be exporting the way they once did. As the world's largest refiner of doré bars, they said, we're going to massively curtail exports. And they're the second largest producer in the world. They said, none of what we produce will hit the global markets. They're staying here at home. And so you look at a country that is now a net importer instead of exporter, going to curtail exports. Already said we're going to curtail the export of sulfuric acid, which is used in copper mining, and copper mining is the largest producer of silver. Silver is largely a byproduct of mining of copper, lead, and zinc. Only 15 or 20% of silver that came to market last year was mined by silver companies. Most of it's by copper. They're gonna make copper difficult to mine because of the sulfuric. And now when the price gets knocked down, they import more in 2 months than they have in history. And so that should tell you. I mean, what more do you need to know when you see the biggest, most well-informed money on the planet gobbling this stuff up, using price weakness as a tool to accumulate? And then they still maintain a $10 an ounce premium over the West to incentivize arbitrage by the dumb traders who have the ability to do it. And that's just all of those numbers. In fact, the number, let me just give you the number to make so it makes some sense. When we talk about how much came in, that's gold. Here we go. So February and March, imports rose 78% month over month to a record of 836 tons in March. That's 173% above the 10-year average. Year to date, imports are up to 1,626 tons, the highest on record. So that doesn't mean a lot to some people. Well, let's see what that is. So there's in a metric ton, there's 32,150 ounces, give or take, times 1,626. That's 52,275,900 ounces of silver, the highest on record that they have imported year to date as the price got its ass handed to it. Does that make sense to you guys? What more do you need to know? And the same thing is true for gold, where, by the way, well, yeah, I'll come back to that. Gold imports rose to 162 tons in March, the highest since March 24. This marks the third consecutive monthly increase, the 17th consecutive monthly purchase. They're still stockpiling gold. India, as of April 1st, just made silver collateralized. So you can go into a bank with jewelry or bars and get a loan. And that silver is not rehypothecated. They have to hang on to it until you pay back your loan. The world is moving to a new standard, away from paper, away from treasuries, and on to commodities. And I think it's important to realize it. And look what happened in February. I've said this on your show before. Here in the United States, so February, biggest imports ever. March was bigger in China. But in February, when the price got killed, not only was 26 million ounces delivered onto COMEX, 39 million ounces left the COMEX vaults, got onto trucks and drove away. 2 million pounds worth of silver, $3 billion worth of silver. Who bought that and took it on trucks, ran logistics? Where did it go? Who bought it? And these are the things that should supersede the price, which is just a tool to misdirect. Prices are going way higher. Inflation is going higher. Rates are going higher. And the biggest money in the world shows you this by their actions. They're removing counterparty risk. They're buying this stuff. They're skating to where the puck is going, just like Wayne Gretzky did. You don't skate to where it is, you're misdirected. You're a mile away, skate to where it's going, and that's what these people are doing.
Andy, I don't know if you've noticed, every now and again, I just get a smile and a smirk and laugh. I go back to your statement, who in the heck, nobody wants to buy the U.S. debt, the bond prices, they're having to go up to get people even interested. And you were like, you'd have to be crazy and stupid to buy it. And I just keep remembering that, the number one buyer is the Fed.
Right. Well,
which makes them either crazy, stupid, or desperate.
Well, and what did Hank Paulson just say? Well, we need to prepare for an eventuality where emergency contingency plan for a potential collapse in demand for U.S. Treasuries. That's the former Treasury Secretary publicly saying there is going to be a collapse in demand for Treasuries. The handwriting is on the wall. And if you believe that the Cayman Islands is one of the largest holders of our U.S. Treasury market, I got a bridge to sell you. That is the Fed in a shell corporation in the Caymans, because no one wants them anymore. They don't trust us. They don't trust our fiscal plan. They don't trust our political or geopolitical agenda. They don't trust that, if the Fed can push a button to print money and then take that money and buy treasuries to suppress rates, it's just immoral. Why would anyone want to sell us their stuff for a currency that can be just, there it is, no sweat, no effort, no work.
The world's greatest Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, and then they can
dress
take
it up
that and buy
big
treasuries.
terms
Yeah.
to make you accept.
Right. So that's why these things are happening little by little by little by little by little, and then bang. Well, when is the bang? I don't know when the bang is, but it's getting closer. You can see it by how things are accelerating.
I guess that's it. You don't know when the bang is. You just know there's going to be a bang.
Right.
And you're screwed if you hang on until the bang.
If you're not a contrarian, you'll be a victim. That's right. That's right. And the
that's,
people who have listened to me, look, people are bummed out about silver. Like, let's just.
I'm not. I'm excited.
Well, let's put things in perspective. 1 year ago, what was it? I wrote this down last night. I was like, could that really be right? 1 year ago, silver was, what was it? Where did I put that? Let me just do this the right way. 1 year ago, silver was a low $31.96. Right, silver was $32 a year ago, to the day almost, and so, well, even with the pull down, it's out 2.5 times. It'll go back to where it was. So let's just put things in perspective. And I will tell you that we haven't seen anything yet based upon the deliveries and what's going on. Now, you do have the end of the this is the COMEX expiration, and it's also the Fed Open Market Committee meeting. These are, I would have bet my life they'd knock it down. I bet you anything it's up tomorrow. Now that the contracts have delivered and expired, and now that the FOMC meeting will be over, it's what they do every time. Doesn't hurt the trend. It just goes to show that there's a greater amount of desperation involved in keeping things in an orderly fashion. It's becoming harder to do. I don't know. These pullbacks should be nothing other than an opportunity for some people. You can see the Chinese view it that way for sure.
Distance in a graph, that's the thing that's tough. When they manipulate to go like that, the graph is still going like this. And if you back up and look at it from a distance, it looks just like it's going like that. But if you get really close, you'll see.
Yeah, the volatility is what keeps people frozen. That's right. That's what keeps people a deer in headlight. But you're right. You go paste that on the wall and go back to the back of the room, and you'll see a 45-degree angle. That's a good point.
Exactly. And that's where people have got to go when they look at the silver. You got to back up, because if you look here, it looks like this. You're looking at those ups, you're looking at those downs. But if you look at that trend, that historic trend and where it's headed, then you get really comfortable. You just got to somehow filter out the noise or just be disciplined.
Exactly.
All right. I have had a couple of people ask me this question. It makes complete sense to me, that now having a bid and a ask in that ticker.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be good if they heard it from your lips. It would save me a lot of emails.
Yeah, we do have a bid ask on there now.
And what does that bid ask mean?
That means bid is when you're selling and ask is when you're buying. Those are the spot. Like if you go to any website, you'll see that shows the bid and the ask. It's the buy and the sell price of gold and of silver and of platinum. And in great times of great volatility, those bid asks are widened, but it will be in line with every major player in the country. But
now I had somebody like trying to figure that one out, and I said that is actually an exceptionally ballsy move. I don't know any other dealer that's willing to put what they'll pay and what they'll pay you for yours, what they'll sell you if you want to buy some. That's really putting it out there. Most of them, it's like, see us for a good deal, wink, wink, and then you got to call them, and then you get that high pressure sales job on them.
I mean, I want to be as
just want to say I'm
straightforward as
impressed you did
possible.
that.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. I got nothing to hide. It's a tough business these days, and there's a lot of nuances and a lot of risk even for companies like mine. And but that bid ask, like for example, the difference I see anywhere from 25 cents to $1.25 on various sites that will show the bid ask, and that bid ask is something that changes based upon volatility. So
I've seen that in big trading on the mercantiles. You
it's
see the
everywhere.
bid, you see the ask, you're used to it. But at this retail level, no, it's usually you go see the guy at the coin shop and he hedges. Well, I just had somebody come in, sell me 100 ounces. I really don't need yours. So, instead of that set, they're like, well, I can only offer you 60.
Right. No, we're never going to do that. It'll always be a function of the bid price when you're selling. And, I think in terms of buybacks, we will never be undersold in buybacks. We typically are the best buyback in the industry, almost always.
Oh, that is fantastic. Kirby, have to put her on the list.
What does that say?
Just Kirby and his wife, Barbara. Good morning, Andy, Mark. Barbara's birthday today. Just so I
Happy
remember
birthday,
that.
Barbara. Mark asked me to sing for you, but I said I'm not as good as he is, so he's going to sing for you.
What he said is your birthday present, Barbara, is him not singing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We'll get Josh to come play along on the guitar.
He's good.
That's what we need for one of our whiskey and
He's
wisdom.
very good.
Drag him down here and do open mic night with him. Hey, what else do you have anything else on your list to cover today? How long do we have you today?
I don't got a whole lot else. I'm happy to take questions if there are any. Just a crazy time, man. I think we covered just about all of it. I thought the part about the cars is one of the craziest stories I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, no, it really is. You look at the level of control, and I'm out there going, yeah, but the Patriot this, and we're all fighting that, and then I look at the controls still going in. Like rhetoric is saying how free we're going to be, but then I'm looking at the evidence, and I'm like, this is spooky.
Yep, it is.
Zesty Olive, what about platinum and palladium? Should we hold some? Should we consider some? I don't know this answer. Do they even make cool platinum coins or palladium coins or just bars?
The Canadian Mint used to make a palladium maple leaf. They don't anymore. The U.S. made a palladium coin 1 year. They don't anymore. The U.S. hasn't made a platinum coin in several years. They used to make the platinum eagle all the time, and they haven't made any. So you can get a platinum maple leaf. You can find platinum eagles. They're backdates. They'll have high premiums. Get platinum bars pretty easily. Platinum kangaroos. I think you should own, of your metal holdings, 5%, 10% of your metal holdings.
I noticed
in platinum, no palladium at this point.
Just as an outsider, when I'm looking at those, I see a bigger swing when gold or silver tends to be more mild in its swings than platinum or palladium. The trend is still the same. If I were like a trader and I were watching the smaller movements, I would think platinum and palladium would be more my play because there's more to take advantage of.
Well, for the first time ever, platinum has just surpassed silver in the largest concentrated short position of any commodity traded on COMEX. They're manipulating platinum too, and it's interesting because platinum and silver are the two critical minerals in the precious metals category that have been, classified critical by the U.S. government. They suppress the price and buy up the physical. I think you should own a little platinum. Not a lot, but a little bit, because I think when the world has a greater monetary history track record with gold and silver than they do platinum. But I think there is something worthy of a small position in platinum for sure. I would stay away from palladium at this point.
Yeah, though I would just find those interesting. And I look throughout history at many points in history, platinum was worth more than gold. I just find it very interesting. I don't know enough to safely trade it or play that game, but this is an outsider.
It's maybe 20, 30 times more rare. It's mainly mined in South Africa, Russia, BRICS members. It's important for anything that uses catalytics or in they use it in has to do with soldering parts together. I mean, it's used in industry. It's more of an industrial metal, although it does have some uses, I guess, monetarily, but nowhere near what gold and silver does. So yeah, I think a small exposure to platinum ain't a bad idea.
No, it's something I want to consider, because I do find it fascinating. The what, the where, the one, and anytime there's more volatility equals opportunity. Opportunity to do well, opportunity to get screwed.
Right.
But traders need volatility, or they'd have to go out there and work and grow traditional
Right.
businesses.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's, keep in mind, guys, in a normal, like asset-backed world, if you go through history, you didn't have these stock market runs. You didn't have these crazy ups and downs. It was just slow and steady. So you could build, a family could save, you work hard all your life. I mean, it was predictable, boring, but predictable.
Right.
Wonderfully boring.
Yeah, well, this is not a boring world anymore, and the Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times.
So what does Andy do if the world becomes boring again? We go back to asset backed, and where the metal dealers going to go? I mean, there'll still be some need, but nothing like we have now.
I don't know, play golf every day, I guess. Hang it up. I've done this for 36 years, man. I've done this for a long time, and I've tried to do my part to make the world a better place. I try to do my part. People are cynical and say he does this because he's talking his book. We've done 14 billion in sales. I don't need to do this. I don't need to risk my reputation, put my face out there with my real name, my life. It's true, and I do it because I feel an obligation to humanity. I'm not trying to make myself any more important than I need to be. I'm just simply saying, if I were being honest with you, and I hate saying it because it sounds stupid, but I ask myself, why do I do it sometimes? I don't know. I feel like I want to help best I can. I try independent. Look, and this is, I always say, you can run a business and try to do the right thing. They don't need to be mutually exclusive of one another. In fact, maybe it even makes it better.
Compassionate capitalism, it's the answer.
Well, yeah, write a book, how to get to the top without being a jerk. And there's nothing wrong with trying to do the right thing. I stumbled into YouTube, right? The first YouTube I did with Dunnigan Kaiser, or with Big Swear, really, but the first one that I did with Dunnigan turned into something much bigger. And I mean, I did 5 yesterday, 4 the day before, and 3 today. So in 3 days, I will have done 12 podcasts. Now, I'm not making myself more important at all. I mean, it's relevant what I do in the scheme of things, but I try. That's all I can say. I try my best. But if it came to a point where this industry just was done, I hope it doesn't happen that way. I really do. I can go to bed at night knowing I did everything I could, and I helped all my friends, and I helped my family. Most people who work for me are kids I've known since they were kids, since elementary school. I did my best, and what goes around comes around. I am a very spiritual person. I'm not overly religious, but I'm very spiritual. Try to do the right thing, and I do know that if you screw people, you get screwed in the end.
No, absolutely. It's karma. I used to think that I needed to help karma along. That's the ultimate hubris, human hubris, right? You don't need to help it. It is going to balance itself.
It finds you.
It finds
one way or the other. And yeah, it's like Father Time. You can run as fast as you want. He'll catch you. And the same thing is true with karma. And I believe that. I've seen it in my career. People who are short-sighted have short careers. And the internet's a powerful thing to say these things that can be exposed by millions of people. You'll be outed very quickly if you are a charlatan. And anyways, that. And that's why I do what I do. But what would happen, I don't know. I'd like to think that won't happen. I've always thought about things like that. And here we are 36 years later, and we're still chugging along. So it's okay to think that way. Maybe that's what keeps you motivated and trying to do the best you can while you still can.
I will pronounce bovine defecation on the thought that you're just going to play golf and retire. I don't see it in you.
No, but it would be nice for a couple of months anyway.
Right? That's all I'm looking for. Just Give me a month or two. I'll
Right.
call up Andy and Tattoo. I'll drive the golf cart while they play golf. I'll meet them
Couple
for an old
cases of beer,
fashioned.
couple bags of ice, and
Right.
unlimited golf for a few months. I'm in.
I'll drive the golf cart or fish. You'll see me. Yeah. I'll be there at the water
You
track.
can do both. You can drive the golf cart. When we get to the water holes, you can drive right up to the edge of the water, throw your line in, and we'll meet you at the green.
This is perfect. Benny, this is a historic time when you look at the differences in the metal prices, the valuations, and the mining companies. Benny just pointing out mining stock sector down over 30% since the Iran war. Meanwhile, the stock market's making record highs. Record metals are still solid. They're not at their high, but they're still exceptionally solid. Demand is still through the roof. I mean, the fundamentals of the mining industry right now, other than the fuel prices, is really awesome.
You know, they're loaded with cash too. So again, this is all management, and we're supposed to believe just because the Fed won't lower rates that gold market isn't going to do anything. I think that's just pathetic. We saw 450 basis point increase in 1 year in the rates, and gold doubled. So, you know, it was 1900 in 2019 when rates were at 0, and now they're at 4.5 and on the 10-year, and you know, what were they, 1% then, 1.5, and now they're 4.5, and gold's almost tripled.
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away when it went over the 3 mark on that one, and then rolling on up to 4.5. I mean, when I look at it structurally, this whole thing should have fallen apart years ago. But when I looked at funding quarters, I looked at the correlation with the repo market in 2019. Man, this thing should have just imploded about 2 weeks ago.
It's living on borrowed time, but that's the thing. Timing is always difficult. I've always been early. I'd rather be 6 years early than 60 seconds late. And it's tough. It's tough. You get a lot of crap for being early. It's the same thing as being wrong. Okay, so I was wrong.
Same thing. Michael Burry pointed that one out. You're true. Early. As far as the market's concerned, you're wrong and an idiot.
Yep, and that's true. And I'm okay with that because we live in a world of inevitabilities and probabilities. And I think the probability is that inevitably the dollar runs into trouble and the things we talk about happen. But, you know, never when we think, always being prepared before it becomes inevitable and obvious is the only way to succeed.
Yes, it is. Okay, Andy, I probably kept you long enough. I needed a friend.
I'm always your friend. I need a friend too, Mark. I get it, bro. I'm with you, man. Now, I always say this, my intentions are always pure. By the end of a day, I'm always dead tired. So send me the link. I'll try and drop in.
Say that's okay too.
Try and drop in.
It would be neat to be able to get Bix, we, or Andy together, maybe do something near Andy's home in Florida sometime, just a meet and greet or a small symposium or something would be really good.
Well, I would love that. Bix lives in California, so it's not as easy to get him over here if he ever were. I mean, I love the guy, and it would be the two of you are both very genuine. You're both very same off camera and on, and I think it would be fun. I would love to do it. I will mention it to Bix, and if nothing else, maybe we can even do something, like online if worst case scenario.
Worst case, yes.
I'll see what I can do to make that happen.
It would be fun. Or maybe we just go meet him in Vegas.
Now you're talking. Now you're singing my song.
See, that might be fun.
Way to go. Way to go. Mark, you stay well, bro. Hopefully I'll see you tonight. Thank you, everybody. And God bless. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, bro. Take it easy.
Take care.
Bye.
Guys, Andy Schectman, Miles Franklin, huge part. I mean, just awesome. World-class knowledge on the subject. Now we are going to, here's a good question. I'm going to need to consult here, guys. Should I sing happy birthday before you start, or should I wait until after?
Oh, I don't know. That one's up to you. I know you have been doing it before I start typically. And good morning, everybody, and good morning there, Pops.
Whiskey and wisdom tonight. Yes, definitely a whiskey and wisdom this evening. You're not trying to bail, are you?
No. I wasn't planning on it.
I have not checked with Mike on that one, but he has been doing more podcasts. So I would say chances are excellent. We'll have Mike, and it'll be good to have him. His return. Yeah, I should probably do the birthday thing. I know Mitchell, Barbara, Kirby's wife, some a duet. We'd have to practice that one.
Yeah, those are a little harder with the delays and the StreamYard than it would seem. I think we would end up having a convoluted mess where the mic would randomly decide to use,
Oh yeah,
Pops for one word and then me for one word. It would probably go off the track.
yeah. It would probably be exceptionally bad. Savannah, I do have an email. I leave hundreds unanswered each day, but hey, if you're into gambling, you buy lottery tickets on occasion, give it a shot. I tried yesterday, Zach. I went over the top. I spent hours. I just took the laptop because I have to get my legs up sooner or later. Circulation, health, guys. It's all right. Yeah, don't send me suggestions. I've seen them all. I'm in a wheelchair. It's okay. I got to put my feet up, let circulation because your calves don't work and pump blood back and all those good things. I tried to keep up with my emails yesterday. I probably did 9 hours yesterday of emails, and I still ended up 53 short by the time I shut the day down.
Yeah,
I dedicated 9 hours of my day just on top of what I usually do, just the emails, and I couldn't touch the slowest email day of the week. So, folks, if you don't get me, I tried. I gave it the old college try. I gave it my best effort. And it's nothing against you guys individually. It's just I wanted to do the experiment to see if it was even humanly possible. And the answer is no, it's not. I would have to dedicate my every waking hour and not sleep to keep up with it, which is nuts.
No, it absolutely is. There's just too many things that too many people
that genuinely want to know.
Yeah. No, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing, and it's a tough thing.
No, at least you actually got to work. I was powerless for most of the day. Didn't get power back over here in Quebradillas until sometime in the night.
Well, you're always welcome to come over here. Air condition works and the solar works.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. Let's do the birthday thing real quickly, guys. And then what are you going to talk about today?
I'm going to be doing a crypto update, everything that's going on. We've got some exciting stuff in regards to the quantum shield over there at XRP Ledger that they started talking about, a little bit on the Clarity Act. And, well, we've got to talk about what's been the best month in over a year for most cryptocurrencies. And that one's going to be fun to discuss as we look at the current prices. But I've got a bunch of visual aids today to help out. So I'm trying to do things a little different on that
show
front.
And tell.
Less articles, more charts, more diagrams.
Hey, I'm looking around now for something to share with the class for share and tell today.
Hey, I've got 5 homemade visuals to go through.
Whoa.
So yeah, you're slacking. You're slacking.
Yeah, no, wow. All right. Let's get to the birthday. I did not know the back to the basics was off, but that makes a lot of sense that it is. Massive purge on old content going on in the YouTube realm. All right, let's sing the birthday. You don't have to hear. Here's your chance to pick your nose or anything if you need to.
Yeah.
Blow your nose, fix your hair. Are you birthday folks? So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love, may all your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. To all those that are celebrating happy birthday, Annie, there will not be a QFS link until, and there's probably never, ever, ever going to be a QFS link because all bank accounts, if Mr. C is correct, go to that quantum, that blockchain ledger system. They don't need to send you a link for it. It is one of the most fraud-driven things in this entire movement. There's nothing you can do until a change in the system. Until then, there's just a lot of people out there trying to scam you. Most of them just want your information. Yeah, well, I'm going to need to put you in here. I'm going to need your wallet address for your crypto account. Now they have access to your crypto, do what they want with it. Well, I'm going to need your social security number. It's safe. It's just for us. Well, what's your address? I mean, guys, they're mining you to take a fortune from you. Do not fall for it. Too many have. We've helped as many as we can. We can't help everybody. Please don't be a victim that needs help for yourself's sake, for your own sake.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Lots of scary things out there. The internet is still a dangerous place when it comes down to things of that nature, but that's a tale as old as time.
It is.
That is a tale as old as time.
Well, I'm going to be right here if you need me, unless you want me here.
I might have some points where I'll try to make certain that you're busy blowing your nose or something, and I'll try to yank you back up on screen.
All right, guys. Basically, what he's saying is I have to actually pay attention. There's going to be a test at the end.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so what is up, everybody? We're going to go ahead and jump into a little bit of a overall crypto update, going back the past month, essentially looking over some of the important things, but really focusing on the past week and a half where we finally got some information. And so let me get a screen shared over here because I'm very proud of my visuals. I think they're going to help out today. And so overall, when we look at the markets currently, of course, I went and I prepared my visuals and things this morning, and the market decided to take a bit of a turn as soon as I did. But we're seeing Bitcoin sitting at 76,216, XRP sitting at $1.37. Overall, for the month, and this is where it gets very interesting, and I know everybody's going to get a little bit of a chuckle out of it, but we are looking at the best month in over a year for Bitcoin and for the vast majorities of cryptocurrencies. We saw about a 13.1% rise so far in the month of April for the price of Bitcoin itself. You can tell that I made these visuals just this morning, and the market decided that it wanted to poo-poo upon my efforts on that one, and so it started dropping. But as of this morning, we were looking at Bitcoin sitting above 77,000. This is the strongest monthly performance in over a year, and this ended the longest losing streak for Bitcoin, the longest period that it had gone month to month with continuous losses, actually since 2018. And so it's not a regular occurrence for Bitcoin to spend an entire year dropping, but it has happened before in the past. What we have seen occur over this past month is we've seen Tether's USDT supply surge to nearly 150 billion. This is actually up about 2 billion in just the past 2 weeks after having spent the first quarter, most of the first quarter in essentially a period of stagnation. We're now seeing stable coins growing. We're seeing Bitcoin testing the $78,000 level a lot. Our main resistance for Bitcoin, and really the number that we need to see Bitcoin get above, is 80,000. It tried twice throughout this month of April, failed both times. What that resistance means and what folks are saying whenever you see that terminology is they mean that essentially at that point, there is a buttload of sales that are stacked up. And so what that means is that the market starts to kind of somewhat be fearful of that price point, because when we hit 80,000, there's going to be a buttload of sales, and that's going to suppress the overall price increases of whatever that asset is, not just Bitcoin. And so we are seeing that number currently sitting at 80,000. And so a break through the 80,000 resistance level would be an excellent indication that Bitcoin is back on a winning track. But at this point, we don't seem like we're going to manage to break it in the month of April. Stablecoin growth, though, and this overall increase, that is a particularly bullish signal. Institutional adoption is occurring. Now, in order to be fair, though, I will say that we do still have some fairly ominous signs on the horizon in terms of crypto markets. As a matter of fact, Michael Turpin, the crypto godfather, as he is called online, which I think that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but have gotten to actually meet him before. He put out a statement saying that Bitcoin has not bottomed yet. He's predicting a $57,000 low for Bitcoin in the month of October. And no, new all-time highs in the year of 2026. And his argument for that is liquidity is tight. Rates are expected to stay higher for longer than what we were expecting on the Fed side, and the market has not capitulated yet. Matt Greenspan would be a disagreeing voice in this one. Institutional adoption, which we've talked about a lot every time we talk about crypto so far in 2026, because that's what we've been seeing. Institutions are the ones that are going out and are primary drivers of the crypto market at this point in time. He says that he could still easily push Bitcoin to a new all-time high in this year, but we're probably going to be waiting and watching the April Fed meeting, the next big catalyst. If ETF inflows continue, maybe we manage to break through 80,000. But whether you're bullish or bearish, or you're taking Michael Turpin's pessimistic viewpoint, or you're going more of the Greenspan optimistic viewpoint, overall, on a macro level, cryptocurrency is doing extremely well at this point in time when you consider it in the context of everything else going on with the conflict, of course, in Iran, overall oil prices, and just the mass inflation problem that we're experiencing. And so, as much as it doesn't seem like it, it's actually been the best month for Bitcoin in over a year, and it's breaking quite the streak. But now let's move on to the one I'm a little more excited to talk about, XRP itself. So, got this cool one price today. Look, I am. It really did. I swear the market waited for me to lock these numbers in, and that's when it decided to drop. So XRP is actually sitting at $1.36 now at exactly 11:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But it was sitting at $1.41 just about 2 hours ago when I was putting this together. And so, institutional adoption for XRP, and it's not just XRP, it's also Bitcoin, it's also Ethereum, it's also Solana, it's also XLM, but XRP is not just winning the race, they are dominating the race. XRP ETFs pulled in $81.6 million in net inflows through April 24th. And so without even a complete month of April, that made it the best month of 2026, easily surpassed the February $58 million of inflows, and actually entirely erased the March outflow. And so far this year, in regards to exchange traded funds, and so this is institutional players primarily on XRP, we have only had 1 month where we actually saw outflows. Otherwise, we are now looking at the largest unbroken positive inflow streak in XRP ETF history. We have not had a single day of outflows since April 9th of this month. And now we are at over $2.6 billion of institutional positioning into XRP. On top of this, we have seen 35 million XRP leave exchanges in the past week. Just 1 week. And so for those that are not aware, this is actually a very, very useful indicator of how people are feeling about a certain cryptocurrency, because if they've got their XRP sitting on a centralized exchange and they're a big boy, they've got their hardware wallets, everybody with big stuff with large amounts of any crypto, they're keeping it self-custody. They're keeping their crypto sitting on their Ledger hardware wallet or on their Trezor, or whatever that may be. Most likely 99% of them, it's going to be a Ledger hardware wallet. And when they want to sell, what they do is they start positioning themselves. They start moving cryptocurrency into centralized exchanges like Coinbase or Kraken or Gemini or Uphold. And what they're doing that for is because they plan on selling. And so this can occur in both directions. If you see people taking stable coins and moving lots of stable coins over to exchanges, what are they planning on doing in the near term? They're planning on buying cryptocurrencies. When you see people who are leaving exchanges, like in this situation where 35 million XRP has left exchanges in the past week, what are they doing? They're planning on holding it. And so they're moving it over to that Fort Knox. They're moving it over to their cold storage, aka their ledger. And that's an extremely bullish indicator overall for the markets. And so on that front, XRP is kicking all of the buts. But, well, the price is still flat. And the crazy thing is, there's more good news for XRP. The regulatory side of the entire equation is going entirely in XRP or Ripple Labs, the company's favor. The SEC and the CFTC have jointly classified XRP as a digital commodity. They did this in March of 2026, the same legal footing that they've placed Bitcoin and Ethereum on. The SEC case, of course, is now long since a thing of the past, and we haven't had any more pop up. And we have watched, of course, Brad Garlinghouse become quite the fixture in the when it comes down to the legislation and speaking with the leaders of not only the Republican but also the Democratic Party. And so, all around, everything looks great for XRP, but, well, it's a flat price. Institutional money is flowing in, but the price just does not move. We are down 60% from the 2025 peak, somewhere around $3.65. We are essentially stuck, at least we have been for the vast majority of this year so far, the year of 2026. We've been stuck somewhere in $1.30 to $1.50 range. And we have been entirely unable to get out of it, seemingly. Some takeaways from this: it seems as if this range has really solidified. And so some really good indicators to be looking for those that are watching the prices and are waiting for XRP to start breaking out and heading towards some new discovery levels. Right now, we're seeing major resistance at $1.50, $1.50. $1.50 is a major resistance point. We're seeing a lot of sale orders stack up there. We seemingly are unable to break out of that price range. And then on the bottom side, we're seeing somewhere around $1.39 being the pressure point. And so whenever XRP starts to drop below $1.39, we're looking at a fairly bearish trend. A break above $1.50, we'd be looking at a fairly bullish short-term trend. Now, why? Why is this disconnect actually occurring? And well, that is I would say the $1 million question, but in all honesty, that's the $1 trillion question. And the sad thing is that the same thing that is happening right now to gold and silver and to other asset and commodity markets is occurring in cryptocurrency. Institutions are accumulating massive amounts without generating retail price discovery, without us, because we don't have any money. Retail traders, typically in all markets, not just cryptocurrency, are the main drivers of price discovery, because we're not the ones accountable to shareholders. We're not the ones operating in that corporate sense. We're retail. We're the average person. And right now, retail investment into cryptocurrency is at record lows. And I equate that to, at least maybe I'm biased because I'm utilizing my personal, positioning or personal thought process on it. But I strongly believe that the vast majority of retail is tapped out. We have capitulated. Ultimately, we do not have more money to be throwing into things like this. At least that's my situation. And that's what I've been hearing from most people that I talk to. It's not that we don't want to be buying more gold, more silver, more crypto. It's that we can't, because they're not willing to give it to us for free. So why do we have this disconnect? One big reason: institutions are accumulating through ETFs. And in doing so, because we are not buying, retail's not pushing, we are not actually seeing any major price change, especially on a crypto like XRP, where new XRP is being released and sold onto the market every single month. Now, when it comes down to it, that does not change the overall long-term perspective. As a matter of fact, Bitwise just recently put out their base case for 2026. They still view $4.94 as being an achievable price target for XRP by the end of 2026. And they are targeting $29 per XRP by 2030. And we've got a massive amount of different catalysts that could potentially change what's going on. Everything from more major announcements, more partnerships. We know that XRP when it comes down to it, Ripple Labs, I should say, the company is in conversations with the biggest players around the planet. And so partnerships, the Crypto Clarity Act probably being the largest catalyst that could get us out of here. Otherwise, it appears that institutions are going to get to continue to accumulate, continue to build up massive, massive holdings without us seeing major price changes unless something shifts in the short term. And so on that side, when it comes down to it, XRP is kicking all of the butt. I know, and I keep saying that, and I'm a broken record on it. And it has not made me a dime when it comes down to it, my XRP, I mean, in that regard. But we are setting up for a very, very, very explosive breakout. Once this market does get back to a bull market, we are going to see some very, very, very impressive runs, in my personal opinion, not financial advice at all. And there's more to talk about on the XRP side. This one, I think, will be interesting for everybody. I talked about a couple weeks ago, I think about a month ago now, I talked about the quantum threat. Google has gone out there. Google released about a month ago their study, essentially, of the threat of quantum computers on the financial system, specifically on cryptocurrencies, because that's always been one where there's always been this fear. For some reason, people think that if you get a quantum computer, the first thing that dude's going to do is he's going to go hack Bitcoin. I don't know why, but that is a widely held belief. And so Google utilized that. And well, on April 21st, Ripple responded. And when I mean Ripple Labs, the company, went ahead and put out their roadmap for what they are calling the quantum shield. They are calling this the phase 1 is the Q-day contingency. Guys, that one, the second I saw that and I saw the quantum shield, I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm seeing a lot of very interesting word and naming choices going on here. But so on April 21st, Ripple announced the roadmap to make the XRP ledger fully quantum resistant by 2028. This would place them as the most aggressive major blockchain in regards to quantum resistance. Most Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc., they're still targeting 2030 or even later. Google told us that 2030 appears to be the deadline on this. And so, very exciting news when it comes down to it for XRP Ledger, the actual blockchain. This could become something that's very important. We've talked about the dangers of quantum computing in the past. I strongly believe that the threat of quantum computing to blockchain technology is highly, highly over-exaggerated. It does not mean it's not real. It absolutely is a tangible threat. It's just exaggerated, in my personal opinion, because if someone has access to a quantum computer, why would they be taking that opportunity to wage a personal vendetta against a cryptocurrency that if they did hack with their quantum computer, the crypto would become worthless? And so there's not even anything to steal here. And so in that regard, I do think that it's maybe slightly exaggerated, but it is real, it is tangible, and every blockchain is going to have to be quantum resistant. The real negotiating type deal is how quantum resistant and by when. And so for the Ripple plan, though, this is where I found it to be very, very interesting, because it talks about more really than just quantum resistance. It almost sounds a little bit, I'll just start going through it and I'll let y'all give me your opinions on what you think it sounds like. And so quantum computers are capable of breaking current encryption. Absolutely. When they are created, when they do become available, they will be capable of breaking every encryption that is currently out there, essentially. 99% of them. Every blockchain transaction exposes a public key. In a post-quantum world, a quantum computer would be capable of addressing that vulnerability, taking advantage of it. Now, especially in long-held accounts. And so folks that have made cryptocurrency wallets a long time ago, especially on XRP, on Bitcoin, those wallets actually don't have the same security features as newer wallets do. long-held accounts are more exposed because their cryptographic material sits visible on the ledger for years. It's been out there a long time. And so, in order to address this, we've got the phases, starting with Q-day contingency. This is during this phase, this will essentially be laying out what would happen if classical crypto breaks suddenly. It would be through a process or through essentially a system of zero knowledge proofs. Q-day contingency plan would allow for users to prove ownership without revealing their private keys. And so that would be phase 1, named the Q-day contingency. Phase 2 will be algorithmic testing. This will be testing post-quantum cryptography candidates to see which of their cryptographies are capable of fully resisting a quantum computer. This will, of course, then be followed up with parallel integration. And so this is where they're going to essentially have the XRP ledger operating without it and the XRP ledger operating with the quantum shield. And then they intend for full network transition by 2028. And so at that point in time, the XRP ledger would be 100% fully quantum resistant. This has a lot of advantages for XRP already because of the consensus mechanism that the blockchain works on. This is actually a lot easier. This quantum resistance move is much, much easier for XRP to accomplish than it is for Bitcoin to accomplish. And so this is a very clear example of where a centralized company-led cryptocurrency has major advantages over a truly decentralized global crypto like Bitcoin. And, well, it's time. It's time for these security features to be added to Bitcoin, to Ethereum, to XRP. We are now on the clock when it comes down to it. 2028 is not that far away. 2030 is when Google believes quantum computing will become accessible, and it is honestly not far away at all. Time flies far, far, far too quickly. And so, moving on to our next one, we've got, well, some hacks. And so, the dark side of this month, and this is what makes it even odder. Yeah, we had the best month for Bitcoin. We had the best month for XRP. We're seeing all of these dollars flowing in, but we also had 2 major hacks occur in the month of April. A massive $606 million was lost in just 18 days through the hack of Kelp DAO and Drift Protocol. Drift Protocol hack occurred on April 1st. The Kelp DAO hack occurred on the 18th. $292 million lost in the Kelp DAO hack and $285 million lost in the Drift Protocol. Now, these really, I think in any other month, in any other climate, these would have gotten a lot more press than they honestly ended up getting. These are the largest hacks so far of the year. They do place 2026 on a current track record to potentially being one of the peak years for hacks and stolen cryptocurrency. How these hacks occurred is actually very, very interesting. Both of these hacks have been associated with the North Korean Lazarus Group. And so North Korean hackers have started massively targeting cryptocurrency blockchains, and especially these more complicated protocols like Kelp DAO. What DAO means is decentralized autonomous organization, aka Kelp DAO is actually run, operated, managed, voted on, everything by the holders of the cryptocurrency. It's an actual online government, essentially, that is operating that protocol. Now, through that process, there were faults and flaws inside of the code. Now, the very, very scary thing about this and how this is working is that most security experts believe that what allowed for the North Korean Lazarus Group to conduct these attacks was artificial intelligence. AI going through and essentially finding exploits that no human being would have found, or most likely never would have found. Examples of this occurring, we're seeing all over the place. Anthropic Labs, the producers of Claude AI, the one that I showed off some of the different things that it could do in some previous episodes and shows, ended up having to actually halt the release of Mythos, which is expected to be a new module, a new version of it, because Mythos was found to be capable of breaking old Pentagon security codes that are still operational. And so Anthropic said, you know what, probably we should not release an AI that's capable of potentially hacking into NORAD. And so they didn't release it publicly. It found errors in decades-old code that was believed by humans to be infallible, absolutely infallible. And, well, it wasn't. Artificial intelligence found the fault, found the problems, exploited them, and bam, $606 million just disappeared out of these two protocols, and it disappeared over to North Korea. Not exactly the person that we want having that kind of capital. I highly doubt they plan on spending it on anything that will benefit us. And so, while we did see a very, very, very impressive month so far for a lot of cryptocurrencies, we also saw a pretty impressive amount of crypto stolen. Nothing good going on here, but I would say this is an excellent opportunity for more of my PSAs. Remember, guys, self-custody, hardware wallets are not an optional thing anymore if you have large amounts of cryptocurrency. We're getting away from that. We are definitely getting away from that. We no longer are at the point with AI and with everything going on. We're definitely getting to the point where folks are going to have to start truly adopting self-custody or generally accepting the central control levers, generally accepting the fact that they're going to keep it on Coinbase and they're going to essentially allow Coinbase to be the managers of their cryptos. But even those are going to continue to experience more and more social engineering hacks. And so for everyone out there, all of us average, regular retail folks, the methods of them trying to steal our money have not changed. And so just remember, self-custody is the only way to have true ownership over your crypto. Private keys for your self-custody wallet are not to be shared with any living human being on this planet. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your kids, not your spouse, no one. And I mean no one. They are for your eyes and your eyes only. 3, do not believe any call, any text, any message, any voicemail, anything that you ever receive. It is all a scam. Assume it is a scam. Operate every single time when you receive a call, a text, or an email from any company in any regards talking about money, whether that is crypto or banking. It's a scam. If you operate under that mindset, you're probably going to miss out on the 1 in 100 that wasn't a scam. But 99% of the time, that mindset of I'm going to ignore it is going to be the safer mindset. And so, guys, please keep these things in mind. Remember, don't give that information to anyone. Absolutely don't. When your crypto hits a point where it is a large amount, get it out of software wallets. Get it over to a hardware wallet. But that's a different number for everybody. But I'll get off of my PSA podium on that one. I know it's no fun, but it's important. It requires constant reminders. It is important. Do not give anyone your information, no matter what. And so for our last visual of the day, and man, do I not like talking about the Crypto Clarity Act anymore. It has been an absolute, I can't afford the swear jar, but it's been a poop show because I can't afford the swear jar. That's the word I'll use. It absolutely has been. And it has absolutely been a crap show that we could very easily blame on the Republican Party. They've had the ability to get this done, and they've just not done it. But we have had massive resistance from the Democrats on this one. But where it all stands as of right now, we've talked about it in the past. The bill passed the House back in July of 2025, and it was a bipartisan legislation. It passed resoundingly. It was not even close. Well over 100 Democrats turned sides and came over to the Republican side on that legislation it appeared that the Crypto Clarity Act was going to be a bipartisan slam dunk. Well, fast forward from July of 2025 to April of 2026, and that slam dunk is just not looking too much like a slam dunk anymore. It was set for Senate Banking Committee markup this month. That has been pushed. It is now expected to occur in May. Senator Tim Scott, working with Senator Tom Tillis, has allocated more time for stablecoin debates with the different banks. And here's actually a kicker. This one really ticked me off to see. The North Carolina Bankers Association happens to be one of the biggest spenders when it comes down to lobbying against yield-like rewards on stablecoins. And so we are currently sitting at very much a crossroads. Senator Cynthia Lummis says that we are in the last chance opportunity to get the Clarity Act passed. Senator Cynthia Lummis believes that if we do not manage to get this done in the year of 2026, she believes that we are going to lose control of the House and the Senate in the midterm elections, or at the minimum, lose control of one. And she does not believe we will have another chance to pass the Crypto Clarity Act until 2030. Now, that sounds fairly doom and gloom. When it comes down to it, most expectations as of right now are that there's about a 60% chance of the bill getting completed in May of this year, with June being the absolute latest possibility. But May of this year, a lot of insiders still believe that it will occur. Some great indicators that we can take away that this is a foregone conclusion is the fact that regulatory bodies and the government is acting like the Clarity Act has already passed. And so the CFTC and the SEC are already and have already mostly finished adopting all of the rules and regulations from the Clarity Act. Now, we are also seeing the Bitcoin Act, which is the final legislation in terms of this process, is also now set to be revealed. The new version of it is set to be revealed in the next about a month and a half. That, according to President Trump and the White House himself. And so the government is acting like the Clarity Act has already passed. And yet it has not passed. And we're getting a lot of fairly negative information on that subject. It is very odd to see that we are essentially, the government is acting like it's already done. And to place that into historical context, guys, the SEC and the CFTC do not adopt rules and regulations from unpassed legislation. That is a historical, it never happens type deal. And so this is very, very odd. Having them actually going ahead and adopting this regulation, adopting these rules without the legislation being passed is pretty much a once in American history type event. And the reason that it never occurs is because these regulatory bodies are like leviathans. They always attempt to expand their power, to grow. And the Crypto Clarity Act chopped the SEC in half. When it comes down to the future purpose, the future power of the SEC, it is being destroyed by the Crypto Clarity Act. It's still important. They're still going to exist, but the vast majority of their power and their expansion into the blockchain technology realm as securities appears to be completely cut off by this, and the SEC is still enabling all these rules without the legislation. That does not happen, guys. It doesn't happen. They do not go ahead and start giving up power before they absolutely have to, and they've been doing it. And so, while it appears as if we are starting to get down to a point in time where we no longer really have a great opportunity to get the Crypto Clarity Act passed, we've also got these very, very odd variables out there that seem to indicate that something has already occurred. And so, with that, those would be my major ones that I wanted to jump on and cover. Overall, the other things that I have been keeping a very, very close eye on have been the institutional purchasing patterns. What we've seen over the past couple of months, MicroStrategy over there, the Michael Saylor, they're the company that's always talked about for their Bitcoin treasury. They have been buying like mad. I mean, buying like absolute crazy people. We have seen multiple different companies make purchases of over $100 million of Ethereum in order to start building up their supplies. We have seen countless companies start to begin buying large shares of these exchange traded funds for XRP. We are seeing institutional adoption. We're seeing crypto become mainstream, but we are not seeing it correlate to any form of price increases. I strongly believe that what we are experiencing right now in cryptocurrency is that we are experiencing manipulation, the same manipulation that we're seeing on all commodity markets. And I believe that the reason for it is because these institutions are taking this time to try and build up and prepare for the future financial scenarios for the new system. They're preparing for it. And right now, we're at a point in time where retail is tapped out. The numbers are blindingly obvious on that front. We don't have any money. And in crypto, it's very easy to see because of the transparent nature of these blockchain ledgers. We're not buying. We're not buying much at all. And I think that right now, that is the sweet spot for a lot of these institutions. And they are going to keep us in this little sideways trading pattern for as long as they possibly can in order to continue accumulating. I am beginning to put on my tinfoil hat. And because of the way the SEC and CFTC are acting about the Clarity Act, such an odd way for them to react as if it's already passed, I believe that essentially the Clarity Act is being stalled in order to maintain this price manipulation. They are keeping it out of the picture for as long as they can, because when the Crypto Clarity Act does pass, we will see a real opportunity to break out of this sideways bearish trend. And so, absolutely, we are looking at a very, very, very interesting point in time. We're starting to see a lot more of a conversation around things that I feel like inside of our community we talked about a lot. When it comes down to the quantum resistance and quantum computing, we're seeing XRP make that move over. When it comes down to the conversations about potential price targets for XRP, now we're seeing those price targets coming out from large institutions. Bitwise, $4.96 by the end of 2026, $20 being a target point by 2030. And that is, they are not alone in that regard. The same type of predictions are now coming out from major institutions on Bitcoin. They are targeting $250,000 as being the next price target. I believe that we are being slowly accumulated, or not even slowly. We are watching and sitting back with popcorn as institutions massively, massively buy up the supply. The same thing that they're doing with gold and silver, they're doing with certain cryptocurrencies, and they're doing it while we are all not paying attention, or while the prices are being suppressed. But with that, Pops, what are your thoughts on all that I shared today? Oh, sorry, I was trying to pull you up there, Pops. I don't know if you were, I was trying to catch you while you were sneezing or something.
No, I did that before. I turned the camera off and turned the mic off while I was sneezing. No, it does. I think we're finally hitting that suddenly. They have been very quietly putting together the platforms and the changes and everything in the background, and we're hitting the suddenly point. You're watching it. It makes no sense. They never follow they do not self-regulate.
Yeah. That to me is the weirdest and biggest indicator. Not only, the White House coming out and going ahead and saying, hey, we're going to start planning and figuring out the Bitcoin Act. That's another one that I look at and say they must think something's already done. But the SEC and the CFTC creating rules and regulations based off of a legislation that has not passed, that's crazy.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen.
Nah.
There's too many things that just don't happen. And there's too many things that are just coincidences to defies all laws of probability. All laws of probability. So, buckle up. How do you prepare? How do you protect yourself? How do you maximize? How do you benefit from all these changes?
I think that it's going to be a matter of being positioned properly and also not starting behind the eight ball, because I think that's why we're stuck right here. The institutions were behind the 8 ball. The powers that be were behind the 8 ball. And so now they're having to slow this all down when they want this to happen also. They've been positioning for a very long time for these things to occur, but they're having to slow the whole roll down because they weren't ready.
Yeah, like any big organization or any big government group or whatever, it takes a while to get it going a certain direction. Then it takes a while to get it back on track. Takes a while to get it off track. That's
but yeah, Bobby Lay though, can you get an AI agent to invest in crypto for you? Bobby Lay, you absolutely can. There are AI agents out there for things like that. I would say, from what I've seen, they've got a mixed track record on that one. They've got a mixed track record. They seem to either kick butt, or you set them up with your money and you come back and it's like that South Park episode and it's gone.
And it's got that banking one. That one is
and it's gone.
Yeah, we're gonna put it in savings. All right, we're gonna put it in a fund. Yeah, you got 200. It's gone.
And it's gone. Would you like to deposit any more money, sir? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, keep giving it to the bank.
Yeah. Joe Better, what's the easiest, best hard wallet to use? Joe, I always recommend the Ledger hardware wallets. But I will say, guys, make certain you buy your hardware wallet no matter what wallet you choose to use. Get a Trezor, get a Tangum, get a Ledger. I recommend Ledger. They're the oldest one in the game. And I've got a link sitting in the link tree that'll make certain you go to the right place. But no matter what wallet you choose, Joe, just make certain you buy it from the manufacturer. Do not buy a hardware wallet from eBay or Amazon or, oh, look, this one's $10 off. No, buy it from the company. Doesn't matter which company you choose. I do recommend Ledger, though, because they have been around for so long. If you are going to be using your phone, Joe, you're going to need to get a little bit of a fancier model. You're going to have to get like a Ledger X. Or if you're going with like a Trezor or a Tangum, you're going to need one that has Bluetooth capabilities to connect to your phone. I always use the Ledger Nano S Plus. I only do things with crypto on my computer. And so it is one that doesn't have a battery, plugs directly in. When it's plugged into the computer, it has power. When you unplug it, she's dead, Jim. And I like that. It simplifies the security process for me.
Yeah, I like those stop gaps, those firewalls or whatever you want to call it. Fire breaks.
It makes me feel better about it than just logging out.
EJ, this is one I could not help you with at all, so I don't even know what this is. Where is Veritasium headed, the owner of DeFi patents?
DeFi patent. That is a very, very good question, EJ. And right now is a very difficult time to address that one because DeFi is currently under our expectations on the Crypto Clarity Act compromises that are occurring are that those compromises are currently occurring in the decentralized finance section of the Crypto Clarity Act. That's actually what we've heard from Senator Tom Tillis. And so on that one, that's a great question. Right now, it'll be very difficult to say. If the Crypto Clarity Act drastically hinders decentralized finance, that could massively change it. So in a month or so, I think we're going to have a really, really good answer on that one. I'm a very big supporter of decentralized finance, but I will point out those two hacks that I talked about today, those were decentralized finance platforms. Ultimately, DeFi is the holy grail of the financial system in this move towards digital assets and digital currencies and tokenization of real world assets. DeFi is the holy grail, but it also is got to go through a gauntlet. It needs to survive government regulations. Government hate DeFi. They have no control. They hate it. And so that is not just an American government. That's not just a Democratic Party. That's the Republicans too. And that is essentially every government around the country. Governments do not like decentralized finance because it allows for a true parallel economy. We can just circumnavigate them on everything. And so that's a really interesting question right there. And I think a lot of it's going to come down to what ends up being the state of DeFi moving through the Clarity Act. What is that compromise? They have not told us, and they don't want to tell us. And when they don't want to tell us, I tend to assume that means it's bad flipping news.
Yeah, no, I was playing tech. Somebody was asking how to find you, and I was making certain. Oh, wait a minute here. You'll have to turn your screen off so I can show them the link tree.
Yeah. No, I could even come over and pull up your link tree over
there
here.
You go. And I've been trying to properly type
guys,
it into chat.
Also, just so everybody knows, please do. If you have ideas of things on this link tree that are not here, links I've missed, etc., let me know. But you should be able to access just about everything Pops related from here. And so you can find me. I'm down at the very, very bottom. Follow for Zester's crypto convos. And that just brings you over to my link tree where you're able to go through, go check out the Substack. Click on that one. That one ends up going all kinds of weird. Yeah, you'll have access to all of my links right there. Go check out the YouTube channel and all that type of fun stuff. I should have pointed out too, while Andy was here, Andy's inside of my RV game, by the way, Pops.
Yeah, no, I heard he was.
Yeah. He's always walking around telling people to buy the dip. It's just a little fun game. The AI made decisions essentially for a lot of stuff. And so, it decided to give him these big weird eyes. It was having fun with everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard it's fun. Edward, where's the news? The RV related back early, like at the beginning, where it's always at usually around the 10, 12 minute mark. I think it was 12 or 15 minute mark today, but go back that far, you'll find the news.
Mm-hmm.
The condensed version of the news, and then we talk about it in much deeper detail as we go on. Then we have a conversation about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, also, what did folks think of the visual aids? I was going to talk to you, Pops, about how I got those made. I had a feeling you might enjoy these. I thought they were very, very cool to make it. It's a lot easier than having the articles up, because sometimes I keep articles up really because I just want to talk about one part of that article.
I do that all the time.
I want something to reference so that, it's not just staring at me the whole time.
I wish I had time to prepare it that way. It'd be easier for folks. I show the articles because I want everybody to know where the material comes from. Yeah. But it might be 2 sentences from this article. It might be almost the entirety of another one. It totally depends. Those little pieces buried here and there that you sift through.
Yeah, well, I added a cool little thing here on it. You'll actually notice if I can get the screen just the right side down here. It actually sources.
I like that.
All of
it cites them
everywhere that I got the information, all the data from, etc. And yeah, and I got it set up for you.
Did Claude help do that?
Yep. So I just went through, said everything that I wanted to do for the day, things I wanted to talk about, all of my topics, and it went through and helped me make these graphics for the things that I was planning on talking about today. And so it was very, very cool.
I need to learn. Andy, the link for Ledger again. We shared the link tree.
So if you go to the link tree, the MarkZ show. Oh, actually, I guess I could just skip over to.
And I've been putting it in. It not only is it in chat, guys. It's in the description of our videos. YouTube, Rumble. You can find that link anytime you want it. It'd be easier to bookmark it, but then it's got. You guys ask me for links all the time. 99.9% of them are in the same place. Every day.
Yeah. And so, right there, actually on the Crazy Kryptonite link tree, you'll have the Ledger hardware wallet. It will help you. You'll actually get free Bitcoin from actually using the link, because I emailed back and forth with them and got affiliate with them on that. And so you will save money by going through it. But the most important thing here is I don't care if you use the link. I just care that you make certain that you come here. Buy it from ledger.com. You don't need to use the link at all, but it will get you some free Bitcoin, but make certain you get it from ledger.com. That's the most important part here. There was actually a case earlier this month. There are fake ledgers being sold out there by Chinese companies, and they look identical. The only way to make certain you don't get one is to order direct, because it comes with tamper evident sealing on it from the factory. And also, when you plug in a ledger, it will go through and it will run a security check to ensure that nothing has occurred on that device. And so that's just the most important one from a security or from a safety standpoint. Please, guys, make certain you do not buy a hardware wallet from any place. But Trezor has the same deal. I don't have a link for Trezor, but Trezor has the same exact thing, Trezor.io. You don't buy a Trezor wallet from Amazon. You buy it from Trezor.io. Same thing when it comes to Ledger. Same thing with Tangum or whatever wallet you talk about. Lots of hardware wallets are all great. They seem far more complicated than they are. Really what it is there's a chip inside of them, an encrypted chip that's actually holding your mnemonic secret phrase that is never allowed to actually communicate anywhere. The only thing it can do is essentially thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down. And so the technology is complicated, but it's also simple. And so I don't worry too much about which brand people choose to use, but I would say stick to the big boys on something like this.
Yeah, and while you may pay a little more for something like Trezor or the Ledger, if you think about what they could charge for that safety, they really don't charge you a crazy premium.
And it really isn't. So like the new Nano Gen 5 with a giant screen here, it's $179. This one's brand new. You get $10. So I guess technically it's $169 because you get $10 of Bitcoin for free. The one I use is this one, Ledger Nano S Plus. It's $59 and you get $5 of Bitcoin. So I guess technically it's $54. This is the one I use. I have like 6 or 7 of them. But as I said, you do need to make certain that you have some way to plug them in. Trish and the company, actually Ledger and Mile High Trish, she uses this. She uses the Nano S Plus on her phone. She uses an adapter cord to be able to plug it in. Ledger actually sells that cord. And so you absolutely can use it on the phone. I just use it on the computer. But I will say, guys, from experience, from so many folks in the community, if you have a really hard time with small screens, I would say that's probably one of the biggest reasons to spend more money that I've found. Honestly, the only good reason I have found to spend more money on these is related to screen size. The Nano S Plus screen is flipping tiny. And you got 2 buttons, and you got to sit there with your 2 little buttons and move it back and forth. It's real easy once you get used to it. But if you can't read the screen, it doesn't matter how easy or how good the device is if you can't read the screen. And so if that is a concern, then you may want to look for one of these bigger boys, because they do. They've got screens that are far, far, far more user-friendly. And their screen quality is very similar to that of like a phone nowadays. So.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we start wrapping up this one today? Which I mean is a great one. Wednesdays are getting long, but they really are just packed to the point where it may be the best day of the week to watch. One of the takeaways, people are like, Andy, because he doesn't talk about currency, this, that. He's talking about the reset. He's talking about the move to assets. And that's what I love about bringing so many different perspectives like his. You have so many folks from different backgrounds, different angles that can all see the impending reset. May not agree with how it's going to play out. We all agree assets, metals, and things that represent those. That's why I love the currencies. It represents that. You pick a nation with, and it's just history and how you've done it. He's very much a purist on the metals, but we all see it going the same direction. You look at Judy Shelton, you look at Big Swear, you look at just about any economic expert today that doesn't work for a finance or a big bank. You see an actual economist, they all lockstep. There's a reset. We may disagree with how it's going to play out, but we do know crypto is going to play a large part of it.
No, at this point, the conspiracy theorists are the ones that don't think some kind of massive financial change is occurring, in my opinion, because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's at the highest levels of government, the biggest companies, and it's public. It's not. These aren't classified documents anymore.
It's being discussed everywhere.
Yeah, it's happening. But I wish they would tell me the date too.
Yeah,
I
it'd be
really
awfully
wish they
convenient.
would, because I would be out there, trying to peddle a kidney, or over hyper leverage myself into bankruptcy if I knew the date.
Oh, wow. Mo Caffeine wanted to thank and support. Been here since 2020, right out of high school. I've learned so much and stayed sane, being able to come watch every day. Thank you. Wow. At that age, think about that one. When
Hey,
Mo
that is
Caffeine
awesome.
started watching, silver was like 17, 18 bucks. Yeah, I mean, wow. And it's only been a short period. If you look at a historic period, it's a blip. We've seen so much in these short years.
I'm just jealous that you're learning about all of this, and taking it seriously, at your age. Absolutely. And that's
Unreal.
awesome, Mo Caffeine. You're going to be set on a lot of things that are about to confuse the heck out of your generation.
And I look at it like you, if you just changed your spending and what you've already done with the Gemini card, and then I jumped on by your rewards card being in key cryptos that we think are going to do well, and you do the math, and I think about somebody like, man, I wish I'd have had any notion of what I have learned painfully over the years when I was younger. I'd be in, oh man, we'd be in a great position if we'd have listened early.
Yeah. Well, the sad thing is that I don't feel like we didn't know. We just didn't listen to ourselves on some of that at certain points. Maybe a lack of self-confidence on certain of them. But it was also a very different time when it came down to the information that was available. It was far more of a critical thinking, well, this one makes the most sense type debate. Instead of it being a, yes, look outside, it's raining, the sky is sky is dark or the sky is blue. Now it's as easy as looking outside and telling somebody what the weather looks like.
Yep. And now I'm just like, wow, yeah, and then gonna buy a farm with it. It's I wish more young people thought that way.
Yeah, buy dirt. I know that's one that I don't see enough folks talking about. That's going to be my biggest thing after this is all said and done. Buying a buttload of dirt. They don't make more of it.
Yep, that's what we mean by that, guys, is real estate. Whether you're one of those city folks and you need commercial real estate, you just got to get really good at picking it. Whether you're more old school like a Zester and I, most of what we'd be looking at would be, is it farmable? Can I put a manufacturing? Does it make sense for industry? A lot of people out there going, yeah, this could be a coffee shop. I mean, just different takes. There are so many different ways to skin this cat.
And there's going to be a massive boom. The United States, and Trump has made this very, very clear. With this shift over, there's going to be this kind of weird period where American manufacturing starts to explode back up and starts to actually become what it used to be. And we start to supply the world with finished goods again. And so I view that as a huge opportunity that's going to be bankrolled by the financial reset. That's what's going to bankroll the reindustrialization of the United States.
No, it's not just the reindustrialization of the United States. It's the reindustrialization of all of these mature economies. You look at the UK, you look at Europe. They may be fighting it tooth and nail instead of embracing it. U.S. has just done something very unusual. You have some leadership that's embracing it. I mean, you still got plenty out there that want to fight it. They really don't want to work. They would much rather the dirty jobs get done by somebody in the third world country where you don't have to see it done. Yeah, they don't want to see the gardeners. They don't want to see the help. They just want to take advantage of it. And that's how they view the world. And it's to me, it's just great to see the cycle where the working class becomes the valued one again.
Yep. Bobby Lay, I think that's a good one. Bobby Lay is going to be buying water rights. That one's probably pretty darn smart. And not going the climate change route, but going from the route of just general pollution that's occurred in our water. It's going to be an important one. Drinkable, non-microplastic filled water is going to probably become more valuable than a gallon of petroleum.
All right. Think about it. Are you better off buying those water rights, or are you better off having the rights to some of the best purification systems in the world? Or the system that treats that bad water with, I don't know, maybe mycelium or something. I mean, we start thinking through where are you better off? To me, that's the difference between the gold and the gold mine equipment. So, yeah, no, I see the water rights one, and I'm like, we're living on a planet that's 2/3 water. Water is going to be plentiful. Drinkable, potable water is the question.
Yep. That is very true.
Unless you
There
live in
will
a
be
desert,
plenty of
then come
salt
on.
water.
If you're thirsty and you got water problems and you live in a desert, it's just one of those McFly moments, like hello, McFly. You just got to think.
Yeah. Well, when is it? What was the comedian on that one talking about, global hunger and global thirst?
Oh,
We
to me, it
spend all
sounds
this
like something
money
Carlin would talk about.
shipping food and water to places on the planet that are unsustainable for human life. Why don't we just move the people?
Yeah, right. That's like moving to the moving to the moon and complaining about the air quality. I mean, can't help you. You're literally that. I hate to use the word dumb, but if you think about it, even though I've got friends that live in the desert, even though I've thought about it, living there comes with its own set of problems, and you just have to decide if they're worth it. Like living in Puerto Rico comes with its own set of problems. Is it worth it? Compromises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Move to the middle of the Sahara and get pissed off that it's hot every day.
Right? Yeah, or live in the Great White North and complain about the cold. Yeah. Sir, for Mark, I think God has it all figured out. Just sit back, relax, have some popcorn, enjoy the show. How do you get that point in life where you're just like, yep, it's gonna go crazy. I'm protected. I'm good. I know what to expect. Let's watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. I need to call it a wrap. I still have some work to get done before I can come back and join you guys at 7 for some news. Hopefully we get some updates from the bond side, and then whiskey and wisdom with this young fella and Mr. Bear. I think we'll see his return tonight. Nice. I'll find out.
Nice. No, hopefully he's feeling much better.
Yeah, hopefully so.
But hey, thank you guys so much for sticking with us so long. Love you all. I'll be back on Friday over on the Crazy Kryptonite, and actually have a little bit of an announcement. I will be back on Rumble on the Crazy Kryptonite starting on Friday.
Have you been off Rumble?
For those, I have not been streaming over to Rumble for quite a while. Rumble had this thing where every time I tried to stream, because I had Liberty on Main Street and Crazy Kryptonite connected to Rumble, it essentially was rolling the dice and deciding which channel it was going to go ahead and go live on each time I did it. I think I've got that figured out at this point, and so I should be back on Rumble on Friday as well.
Fantastic. All right, folks. See you this evening.
Hey, see you, everybody.